Good evening, everyone. I am Chris, joined once again with JXEDITOR, and for a bit of a change today, we're not talking about something Star Wars related. I guess we do have a John Williams that
Well,
connects
not
the two.
officially.
No,
I'm
but
sure it'll come up.
I pitched this to you a while ago that, well, there is a new Superman film coming out in a month or so's time now. James Gunn's Superman, the thing that's going to springboard, hopefully, if it's successful, the new DC cinematic universe. We'll see. And I pitched to you, why don't we do like a retrospective, a look back at the previous Superman films? Because in terms of the original four, I've only seen the first two. I've never seen, to this date, Superman 3 or 4. I will in a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, we thought, why not jump into Superman?
Because I wanted you to watch those.
Yeah, for a while.
Because I've got edit ideas. And yeah, I can't talk to you about them. It's really annoying.
You wanted me to watch those for a long, long time, and I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. And I'm actually really looking forward to it. Their reputation.
I'm already ready for the second one.
Nice. Which one? Which second one? There are 3 different cuts. There are many cuts of this movie. Of course, we're talking about the first one today, Superman the movie, 1978. And I was saying to you before we went live, I actually feel. There it is. That's the one. Just to make sure that we watch the same movie. I feel a lot of pressure with this because this is sort of, especially in the genre, this is arguably probably the greatest superhero film ever made, or at least one of the most important superhero films ever made.
That's more true. Definitely one of the most important. Not the best one. Not the best one ever made.
This will be interesting then, because I might come around to it. I might come around to this one. Superman the movie.
It's good.
I think it's fucking outstanding. I absolutely adore this movie. So it's actually nice to talk about these films for the first time on this channel, I think. So first opinions on Superman as a character then. Was it whether it's comic books you've read or cartoons or whatnot, was it something that was part of your childhood Superman, or was it something you discovered as you got older?
So for me, through childhood, in the periphery, there was Superman from the animated series.
The 90s Batman animated series, the Superman animated series. Yeah.
And then Justice League. And Justice League Unlimited. And I remember being like 6 or maybe 5 at my Uncle Gordon's house, and his sister Marie put on Superman. And I'm like, that's a dude in tights. That is not Superman. And literally, that's the only memory I have of seeing it before being like a person. And then when I was like 14, I watched the actual one. And I was like, that was all right. But just generally on Superman as a character, I mean, when you're 14, you're a jaded teenager, and Superman is this lame Boy Scout who's, who always does the right thing, except when he breaks Zod's neck or throws him down in a bottomless pit, either or. But I mean, you realize that as you get older, you get more mature. You realize that, I mean, yeah, that's the point. That is who he is. He is. Like, he's lame and he knows it. But that's kind of the point. He still does it anyway because it's the right thing to do.
And no one else is prepared to do it. Yeah, and he's what we all should aspire to be, really, I guess. Similar boat for me, really. But Superman was a character I just never gravitated towards, never grew up. Of course, I knew who Superman was. Jesus Christ. I feel like Superman, Batman, I'd probably say Spider-Man as well, and just Star Wars seems to be something that's permeated the pop culture so much that it's just acknowledged that you know what this is. You know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. Spoiler alert for, I guess, anyone who didn't know that. But Superman is just a character that's always there. It's such an iconic look. The character is iconic. But I was
Star Wars first.
I did. I really did, didn't I? There we go. But I was a Batman kid through and through. Age of 6, I remember it so distinctly. We had Batman, the Tim Burton 89 Batman film on VHS. and it was a 15 certificate here in the UK, so I guess rated R in the US, I suppose. And I begged and pleaded with my mother to let me watch this film because it looked really cool. I was just naturally, instinctively drawn to this VHS cassette. It had just the bat emblem on the front, and on the back it had like a picture of Jack Nicholson and stuff. So good. And I remember arguing for hours and hours. I was a fucking brat as a kid. I really was. And she eventually relented and said, fine, but if you get nightmares, it's on you. And I watched it, and from the opening, like Danny Elfman music, I was suckered in. So Batman was my guy. I never had that same connection with Superman at that young age. And I remember watching Batman the Animated Series, but I don't think I ventured after that with Superman the Animated Series or even Justice League. So I think to this day, I still haven't seen a good majority of those old cartoons. I'd love to go back to them. So I discovered this really late in the game. This was probably like in my teenage years that I watched this film. And there was something, I'm going to sort of echo your point. Growing up, you think, oh, he's just the goody two-shoes. He's the Boy Scout. Yeah. He's completely impervious. There's no nuance to the character. There's no vulnerability or weakness. Yeah. And I was exactly the same.
You were a 14-year-old man.
I was exactly the same with Captain America. Even when I went to see the first Avenger, when I saw the first Avengers films, I couldn't fucking stand Captain America. I hated him. And it wasn't until Winter Soldier where something switched and I came round to the character of Captain America. And I think probably around that same point, I had the same turnaround with Superman. And the more times that I went back to watch this film, I really just appreciated what a work of art it is, and how, especially now in 2025, I am clamoring for more characters and films like this. I don't know if Bath Time's watching, but Bath Time would have a field day with this, with the hero's journey and all of that stuff going on, because there's so many themes that are extrapolated from this. You know, you could say that this is, you know, biblical, there's religious elements, whatever, especially if it's a Zack Snyder take on Superman. Jesus Christ, every scene we're getting some Jesus imagery.
I love the fact there's a video that breaks down the whole Jesus imagery of Superman. And it's like the whole point was he was created by Jews, like conceptually, like he was, because he's a response to Nietzsche's, well, not just a response to Beyond Good and Evil and Man and Superman, but also the Nazis' take on it. And it, you know, they kind of went overboard. And so they were like, let's take your Superman and make sure you understand that he hates you. Because
let's not forget as well
evil.
In the 1940s, we had Superman literally killing Nazis as well with the Fleischer cartoons.
He did.
And so many Japs.
I love those old propaganda. I love that. I love actually you mentioned Captain America. Him punching Adolf Hitler in the face on is a reference to the first ever Captain America comic.
Yeah.
Literally just a picture of him punching Hitler in the face. We weren't even in the war yet.
but that is the roots of the character. That is, you know, where they were created from. And I like when they refer to that, you know, they know where their grassroots of the character are. But man, those old cartoons are a trip with Superman, as are indeed a lot of cartoons from around that time period. Jesus Christ. But I really like the animation.
Have you seen Donald Duck hailing Hitler?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
But I really like the animation in those old Fleischer ones, actually. I remember having a cassette tape of it was either 1 or 2 episodes of it. I don't remember much about it, but when I was really little, I had like Dumbo on video and a few other videos. And I remember having in this old sort of beat up cardboard sleeve, it was a couple of episodes of the Fleischer cartoon that I used to watch occasionally. So that was probably like my first entry into the realm of Superman, I suppose.
Wow.
But yeah, as I've got older, I've just really gravitated towards this film, Superman the movie, more and more. And I do think it's, watching it again last night, it was an absolute joy. It's one of those films that, similar to Fellowship of the Ring for me and a few other sort of like classic films, which this absolutely does earn the title of. It's such a nice theatrical experience. Like from the very opening scene of this film, how you have the curtains part. And I've seen some people argue that this opening narration from the kid talking about the Action Comics and whatnot is a little bit out of place. Maybe it is a little bit superfluous. You could just cut straight to the titles. But I don't know, man. I kind of, considering this was probably one of the first.
It's the first. What's in place?
I mean, before this,
what is this place that people are talking about?
Well, sorry.
This is the first.
Well, I was trying to think. Did you have like other superhero things? Because you had other pulpy comics before this, like Flash Gordon and
You had TV shows.
Buck Rogers and things. Yeah, so it was more serials, wasn't it? I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you had George Reeve playing Superman.
Yes.
Who's not related to Christopher Reeves. Christopher is the one with the S, right? Well, they both have an S. They're Superman. Shut up. Yeah. But you know what I mean.
I totally get what you mean, but yeah, I quite like. I think it's a nice entry into this, especially because it is showing you the actual comic book, and then we go into the movie. This is the comic book on the big screen, big blockbuster for what it is at the time as well. The most expensive movie ever made at 55 million, and I guess that goes with saying that they were shooting Superman 1 and 2 back to back, so a lot was riding on this, and they clearly had a lot of hope for this movie, I guess, considering they were doing both back to back.
Well, that's what that symbol. That's what this symbol means.
There we
The
go.
symbol of the House of Hell means hope.
At least they actually do call him Superman in this movie, and they aren't like ashamed to call him Superman in Man of Steel and some of the later adaptations. But
are they ashamed to call him that in Man of Steel? It just seems like they're dancing around it, but like we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I didn't get shame. I just got I got like playfulness that I was not a fan of.
It felt like people won't take this seriously if we call him Superman. It's the same thing with Arrow, the series. They will not call him Green Arrow. They will not do it. It's the Arrow, or whatever all the other names that they have for him, but they will not call him Green Arrow. For fuck's sake, it's a comic book. Do not be ashamed of what you're adapting.
I think I've said this on a stream. I didn't even realize it was an adaptation of Green Arrow until the first episode they actually called him Green Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just thought, oh, is this like a modern take on Robin Hood? I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is a DC property. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, the guy with the face thing, that's Slade, isn't it?
And then he does the boxing glove arrow, which was my favorite moment of that entire show. It was glorious.
He did do that. He did do that.
I guess that was my punching Hitler moment. Oh, he is. Hang on. We got a few comments. Brinsley says, "Sup, lads? Hope you're well. We're doing good. World. Everything in Middle Earth. Hey, Chris. It's great to see you doing well, and you are smashing it. Are you looking forward to the new Superman? Oh, ain't that $1,001 question right there? Cautiously optimistic. However, we have had recent news that they have removed 25 minutes of the footage to make it less goofy. They've hired a new composer, and this comes out in like a month or so's time. It's not looking good. So where have we seen this before?
New compose, like a month to compose the whole soundtrack? Yeah. It's been done, and it's been a miracle before.
It has been done, but what DC film does this remind you of, where the studio's got in saying, we need to change the entire tone of this and make it less, either less serious or less campy or less goofy. We're going to chop it all up.
Or literally
add
the opposite.
Some new music. It's like every
or we need
DC
to make it
movie.
More campy and goofy.
We've had Suicide Squad. We've had Justice League. So,
yeah, it sounds like we're getting an inverted Justice League.
Honestly, from the trailers and everything I've seen, I have not been jazzed on it at all from what I've seen. None of the trailers have got me particularly hyped. And this film needs to be big. I would, Jesus Christ, I would love a great Superman film. I would love, full fanfare. We're back in business, a great Superman movie. And to be honest, I don't think we've had a truly great Superman movie since this one, or maybe Superman 2, but certainly this one, in my opinion. It's been a long time.
No. Since that one, Superman 2 is it. Maybe if Donner had been allowed to do it like then, but the Donner cut doesn't really save it, and the Lester cut isn't good.
The perfect cut exists somewhere between the two. I guess we'll talk about that more next week when we come to it. Brinsley says, I hope the new Superman is good, but I love the original. Is James Gunn too wacky for Superman? Yes, I think he is. I think he's absolutely the wrong decision. I think it's, once again, very reactionary on DC/Warner Brothers' part. They probably went, oh, well, the Suicide Squad did all right, so let's get that guy to helm every single DC project and make him the head honcho of this new cinematic universe. And I think that's a huge swing and a miss. If this film doesn't make as much as Man of Steel did, that's not good. That's not good. And I've heard some of the...
How did Man of Steel do financially?
It was like just shy of 700. Was it like 650 mil or something like that? Let me have a look. Dear. This was, bearing in mind, this was back in 2013. 670 it took ultimately on a budget of 250 mil, though.
That's like what you can expect from a Superman movie, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if this one doesn't do as well, and I mean, Supergirl's already in production, I think that's a huge mistake bringing Supergirl out right after Superman. If Superman doesn't make 800 mil or $1 billion, Supergirl sure as shit ain't making that much money. I'm not opposed to bringing Supergirl into the mix, but as your second film in a brand new cinematic universe, that ain't how you do it. You do Superman.
I just hope it's Batman. Actually Supergirl and not like blonde female Superman.
Well, I guess we'll find out what happens. But yeah, if this doesn't make money, I think there's going to be a lot of urgent meetings in Warner Brothers with James Gunn about the future of this entire enterprise. So we'll see. It's only a matter of time. He made me care about Guardians of the Galaxy, so I have faith, but we'll see. Yeah, but I don't know if the tone of Guardians of the Galaxy is the tone that Superman needs. We'll find out. He's juggling a lot of characters in this. You know, we've got Guy Gardner, Green Lantern in there, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho. There's a lot. You're juggling a lot of characters in that.
Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner, I could see James Gunn doing really well.
Mm-hmm. We got Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, so you could do much worse than that.
As Guy Gardner, and also he's played like Hal Jordan in so many animated things.
Mm-hmm. He's probably too old to play Hal Jordan now, probably, though, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Everything in Middle-earth says, I really like Nicholas Hoult, but he just doesn't have the Lex Luthor feel for me. Yeah, you need someone a bit more imposing. I'm not saying that Nicholas Holt's a bad actor. I think he's been fine. A very questionable choice for Beast, I think, in the rebooted X-Men franchise.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was Beast, but I'm also kind of surprised that it ended up working for me. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see Dark Phoenix, so...
He's a good actor. Like, he's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but... Yeah, especially when you look at like animated series Lex Luthor, that like proper like ripped big like, businessman, someone with that intensity.
What is with all these live action Lex Luthors who seem to just shun all form of exercise?
Yeah,
like, Lex Luthor is ripped.
Yeah, he is.
The guy,
he's trained
because he wants to be the perfect specimen of a human. Because he's trying to prove that the perfect human is better than a Kryptonian.
Exactly. He's trained himself to mental and physical perfection. Similar to Batman, I guess. Both billionaires, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, according to some comic books, Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne are the two smartest people on Earth.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
As Doomsday Clock is first in my mind that does that.
Mm-hmm. Let's have a look at some of the performances in this film. Then, I mean, we got to talk about Christopher Reeve as Clark Kent, Superman. Every time I watch this film, but I had the same thing last night where just midway through the movie, it was probably just he's just stood there as Superman. I'm like, that is Superman.
He's so charming.
Yeah, so endearing, and he's the only actor I think I haven't seen all of the live action TV shows. I haven't seen Smallville or Lois and Clark or all of these other ones. I'm just going purely by the films that I've seen. He is the only one that has completely nailed that duality of Clark Kent and Superman, the persona. Because Cavill didn't have it. I'm not saying he couldn't have done that, but they just didn't go that route with him, and they just
did we ever even see Clark Kent scenes really?
Very
like
few.
Scenes where he had to be Clark Kent, not like scenes where he just isn't in the suit, but he's talking to people who knows who he is, so he doesn't have to change dick. He just he's just Clark Kent.
It was mostly all expositional stuff
like that.
It was mostly all expositional stuff, I think, in like Batman versus Superman, where he's on the case of investigating this person who's branding people, and that's it. It's all very functional to the plot. There's no like actual scenes of depth or seeing that persona. He just absolutely nails it. Christopher Reeve is so goddamn endearing in this film, and probably one of the finest performances I've seen as a character. To play essentially two different characters, and initially the studios wanted to go, unsurprisingly, for an A-lister. There were so many people in like the in the lineup for who they wanted to play this role, and Christopher Reeve was pretty much a unknown at that point. And they took a chance on him, and he was this scrawny, however tall he was, whatnot. And they said, you're going to have to wear a muscle suit. And he was like, nah, I'm going to bulk up. And here we go. Star Wars comparison.
And
here's another one with David Prowse. Yeah.
He did work with David Prowse, didn't he?
Yeah, he trained him. Yeah, it's great. And so
I forgot about that.
David Prowse did actually want to audition as the character of Superman, but the studio wouldn't let him. And this is funny, because a British guy can't play Superman. You're not American. You can't play him. Fast forward a few years later, we get Cavill. It's interesting how things change over time, isn't it?
Who, by the way, he did a great Superman. He didn't do. We never saw him do Clark Kent once. But he did a good Superman.
You had the perfect actor, and you just gave him fucking nothing to work with. It's absolutely soul destroying. Even Affleck as well. I remember when he was announced, and everyone kicks off. It seems like every new person that gets cast as either Superman or Batman, everyone throws a hissy fit, and I'm always there like, can we at least see some footage first? Let's see him in the costume. Let's see them act. And I think, again,
let's see if they got the logo right.
I think Affleck could have been, with good material, one of the best Batmans that we've ever had, and unfortunately he just never got that. So it's just a lot of wasted potential. Thankfully, that's not the case with Christopher Reeve, who just absolutely cements himself in this role. So many wonderful scenes across the board, and he's just a joy to watch on screen. He just gets the mannerisms perfectly. I love how he brings his physicality into it as well. One of my favorite scenes is where it's right after the flight sequence, where he takes Lois Lane for the flight and he brings her back, and then he leaves. And then a couple of seconds later, there's a knock on the door, and Clark Kent's there. And it's the voice, it's the mannerisms, it's gee, Lois. And then there's a moment where he takes the glasses off. I think Lois is off getting ready in another room, and he takes the glasses off and he straightens up. And the whole thing with like wearing the glasses and no one knows that he's Superman, despite the fact that he's only wearing glasses, is ridiculous, and it's been parodied to all hell and back. But you know what? In this scene, I kind of believe it, because he is so fundamentally different. The way he holds himself, he kind of hunches over. He looks a lot shorter. But when he straightens up, the chest is out a little bit more. The voice deepens. He commands that presence. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the film. I think it's the perfect one to exemplify Reeves's acting ability of the two sides of the character there.
In this film, definitely.
Yeah.
In the next one, Lester Cut did it better. Or no, Donner Cut did it better.
I've only watched the Donner Cut once, so I am going to watch both cuts in preparation for next week. I should say which version we watched for this one. I just watched the theatrical cut. This does contain the extended edition, but I haven't seen the extended TV version, which is like 3 hours, 8 minutes or something ridiculous.
So wait, how long was the one you watched in minutes?
The one I watched was 137. The extended version is 145. And
145 is actually a theatrical.
Is it?
The 137 it was cut down for VHS.
Let me have a look here, see if I can find the different run times.
I looked it up earlier, but you can confirm.
No, that's fair enough, then.
It could be wrong.
Well, I know that the extended edition adds 10 minutes into the mix. You have stuff like the gauntlet that Lex Luthor sets up with the machine guns and the fire and the freezing.
Yeah. That's not the 224 one.
You have Lex Luthor trying to feed Miss Tessmacher to the lions and the big cats that he's got. There's a few extra scenes there. There's quite a nice goodbye scene with Jor-El, the hologram of Jor-El at the Fortress of Solitude. And Superman almost goes out to give his father an embrace, and then he just pulls away because it's a hologram and it's gone. There's nice scenes like that, but I think that the theatrical cut is definitely the tighter one. It seems like the general consensus that I've seen is that the theatrical is probably the better cut. It gets rid of a lot of the extraneous material. But I do actually want to go and watch that extended version. And then there's the TV edit, which came out on Blu-ray a handful of years ago, which
3 hours.
it's so much extra footage, needlessly padded out,
including stuff for Superman 2.
Yes, yeah. I know there's some discrepancies with the voiceover and stuff. That the guy who played young Clark Kent, oh god, what's his name? It's something East. I've forgotten his name.
I
Jesus,
just looked this up too because I wanted to see if he was in anything ever.
Jeff East. There we go. They don't. So his voice in this film was dubbed over with Christopher Reeve, which he wasn't actually told about, and he was understandably miffed about that. I know in the TV edit they haven't dubbed all of his lines. So you do hear Jeff East's normal voice in some of those scenes in the TV cut. So, yeah.
Okay, now we have AI.
We do.
If we wanted to, are we making it all Jeff East, or are we making it all Chris Reeves?
All Chris Reeve, I think.
Okay. Good to know. Just I had to check.
I do feel really bad for Jeff East though in this film. Just real quick.
Speaking of no, can I just, because I gotta dial back to something you said much earlier. Because we were talking about performances, and you said that there are two performances, like you can see there are two characters in Christopher Reeves. There are three. You only hear one of them, but you're going to see the third one in 2 movies. Because Smallville Clark Kent is a third character. It is a third performance for this for Kal-El. Because it's not actually, it's the one that's not a performance. He's just a guy, and it's kind of really nice to see him just being a guy. You know, he's not tripping over himself, and he doesn't have to live up to this high standard. He just ran. Yeah.
Speaking of that scene, actually, with Jeff East, when he says, I just ran here, that there's a couple of effects in this film that look a little bit wonky now. A lot of it still looks fucking great, and especially for the time as well, 1978, it's all fantastic. And even like I love old, exactly, and they achieved that. And I love older films anyway, so I'm able to forgive a lot of the discrepancies when it comes to some of the wonky effects. Like if the acting's good and the story's there and everything, the rest of it is just kind of set dressing. It's nice if it's both intact. It's nice if it's all good across the board. But there are some shaky bits. I think one of the bits that maybe doesn't hold up as well is the cartoony, super fast running from Jeff East's Clark Kent towards the beginning of this film. It looks a little bit cartoony, but apparently he tore loads of muscles in his thighs doing that stunt. Like, I don't know if they had his legs hooked up to this thing, like this contraption that made them move super quick.
And then they like actually pushed it. Like, what? Really? And I just figured it was compositing.
Same. Maybe some of it was, but yeah, apparently he tore loads of his muscles in his thigh doing that stunt, apparently. So I don't know what that entailed. His voice got dubbed over, as I just mentioned, so he didn't really properly get his performance across, at least his complete performance. And then on top of that, he had to withstand like 4 to 5 hours of prosthetic makeup to make him look more like Christopher Reeve every day of filming. Poor Jeff East, man. And he's great. I think he's really, really good.
It gets worse. It will be slightly worse for him in 2 movies. We'll get to it. Wait till we get to Superman 3, dude. I cannot wait for us to review Superman 3. Like, we have to get through the good stuff so we can get to the good stuff.
Is this like if I was going to do a Batman review series and it's like, yeah, the first 2 are great, the Tim Burton ones, but I can't wait until we get to Batman and Robin. Just like off on a tangent about Superman as well. The costume design and everything, just the cinematography, colors, everything just pops so beautifully in this film.
Where did it come from, though? Where did the costume come from?
That's a great point. So, a little bit of a tangent here. Quentin Tarantino also goes off on a massive tangent in Kill Bill 2, where he starts banging on about superheroes for about 10 minutes, and he talks about Superman. He says, those clothes
were meant to be right?
I don't know. I think that's for the audience to... I think it's up for interpretation. Anyway, he says
because he's wrong.
He says that the clothes that Superman wears were the ones that he was wrapped in as a baby. Now, we go to the Krypton scenes in this, and everyone's in this very 1970s sci-fi white and silver, and everything's very clinical. Apart from the cloth that Superman's in, and it's this very garish, shiny red, yellow, and blue material. And I thought, okay, so is that meant to be what his suit's made of?
Suit?
And it's not the same material at all. So I'm like, well, no, it can't be that. I think it's just a coincidence. I think it's just a visual signifier.
No,
maybe.
It's got to be meant to be what it's made of.
Do you think?
Like, there's no way that's not what it's meant to be made of.
What about the boots? You've got like the rubber for the boots.
On top of that, I don't know. I don't understand where it comes from, Chris. I just know I think I know what they're trying to say it came from, but it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. I mean, there's okay, there are two things that it might be. Either A, that's what he was wrapped in and it has since become a suit, or that is actually what the Kryptonians are wearing under normal light.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but
because
what about the
when
boots?
we see him underneath the Earth's crust, covered in like when he's being illuminated by magma, he's very silhouetted, very. It looks more like it did on Krypton.
I think that's just more the compositing, to be honest. Probably.
I do too. But seeing that with this question on my mind, I had to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I create the most refined copium.
Yes, you do, and you have to with this movie. There are a number of scenes in this which we'll discuss as we go through this film with a fine-tooth comb, that you do have to do some mental gymnastics with and forgive a few things in the film for an enjoyable experience, I think. But I do love the costume. It's my favorite costume, hands down. I'm tired of, like the Henry Cavill stuff. A lot of people like the costume. Like, the costume for Cavill's fine, but I'm so tired of this really intricately detailed mesh design that all superhero costumes seem to have now. I like that this is just fucking fabric. It's just red and blue. You got the yellow. Like, I'm fine with it. Just let it be.
See, I haven't registered that other superheroes have this weird mesh. I just know that Superman had it in the Snyderverse, and I liked that because it wasn't human, so it's fine that he has it. Like, Batman just seemed to be in like a Kevlar weave over body armor. That's fine. I like the mesh. I like that it's alien. But I do see what you're saying, because I'm thinking about Black Adam now, and if I had to guess, that's probably similar to what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see Black Adam.
Everything just needs to be needlessly complicated. Like, I hate the new suit, by the way. Maybe it'll look different in the actual film when I watch it, and maybe I'll forgive it. But everything I've seen from the set photos to the actual photos to the trailer and all of the TV spots we've seen, I think it looks terrible. I hate the high color. I hate those like ridges on the costume, and it just doesn't look like it fits the actor properly. It looks very baggy. It looks like a Halloween costume, like an adult's Halloween costume for Superman that you'd get, where it doesn't quite fit right. You've got the awkward padding in there. But this one's great. I love it, and you can tell that.
I don't really have that problem with this new one. I do have that problem with Superman Returns.
Yeah, the same thing in that one. Yeah, and the really muted colors. Well, not even just on the suit, the film in general. Superman Returns is one of the ugliest films I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it looks like vomit.
Yeah, it's. Well, I mean, we'll get to there in a few weeks' time, but yeah, it's disgusting looking film. There was no reason it needed to look like that.
It's so brown.
I know.
It's like Batman Begins.
It's like Solo, a Star Wars story.
Why are these movies so brown?
It's the brownest film.
Yes.
Let's talk about the love interest in this then. Margot Kidder as Lois.
The chemistry.
Oh, we'll get to her. We'll get to her. The chemistry between Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder in this is just absolutely scintillating. It really is.
It's stunning.
Yeah. It's just not shy of perfection in my eyes in terms of every interaction with these characters, just how into each other they are. And you've got and this is the thing that I think a lot of the later adaptations have lost out on, is I like that workplace awkwardness between the two of them. How you have him trying to masquerade as Clark Kent, this bumbling oaf, and Lois won't even give him the time of day. that juxtaposition when he is Superman. I like that, and I think that's an integral part to the character, which they just outright don't do in Man of Steel, because she immediately knows that Superman is
She
Clark
knew who
Kent.
he was. She knew he was Superman before she knew he was Clark Kent.
Yeah, you don't get that in Superman
That's a
Returns,
problem.
because obviously it's a sequel reboot thing, but you don't get that in that movie either. And I'm hoping it's something that we get at least a little bit in this, but it looks like from the trailer that, again, he's already well established as Superman. I think that, again, Lois just knows that he's Superman in this new film. I could be wrong, but that's what I get the impression when she's interviewing him, and she goes,
I have seen nothing.
Okay.
I gotta watch that show, Superman and Lois.
It's meant to be really good. I've heard good things about it. But yeah, Margot Kidder is just absolutely stunning in this as Lois Lane. I love her personality. This go-getter character, no nonsense. You know, she's sarcastic, she's witty. She's always got a comeback, but shows that vulnerable side to her as well. And a very controversial scene in Superman 2 towards the end, which I will defend. Next week, I'm ready. I'm going to be defending that scene that everyone fucking hates from Superman 2, because I think that exemplifies some of the best performances I've ever seen, maybe even in a movie, but certainly in a superhero one. The interaction with her and Christopher Reeve.
Might you be talking? Oh wait, are you talking about
that scene? The one that
with
everyone
the fire?
No, the kiss
with the with. Oh, okay, yeah.
That's the scene.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna be defending
you should have said with his one and done extra superpower.
Yes, of which he has many in Superman 2, the Lester cut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that. It's
what
so
is
great.
That? We'll talk about it next week. But what the fuck is that? Like, my father doesn't remember my father doesn't remember specifics, like, generally. Like, we'll talk about things like, oh yeah, that was good, and he will like pluck that out of the air and be like, what the fuck was that? Because it's stupid and it's cellophane, and why?
Family Guy parody. Yeah,
it better be in this new one.
Yeah, cowards.
This is the new Inquisitor lightsaber.
What are your takes on what's your take on Margot Kidder as Lois Lane in this then?
Oh, she's excellent. She I mean, I've seen her in The Office. I've worked with this woman before. And then the interview before, like, when the interview starts, when it isn't an interview yet, and she's still trying to, she's trying to keep it professional the whole time, but when she's still succeeding at keeping it kind of professional.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell she's doing a really good job playing a reporter. Like, that sounds like it would be easy. You're just doing it, but she's playing a reporter who cares about I'm sorry. It's not. This isn't easy for me to explain, because I can't just be like, it was Gloria at LTC. Because that's her inside I used to work for.
Her inside voices start to come out, and they're clearly really into each other, but that's just so nice to watch. Like, the chemistry between the two of them, it just permeates the screen. It really does. And I just watch it, especially
it feels real.
I like moments where the film just breathes as well. How, we're not racing to the finish, we're not just having mindless action all the way through. There are actual fucking scenes in this film, which is like the flight sequence. Yeah, we could talk about the handling of that. The voiceover I could have done without. The "Can you read my mind?" I know it was meant to be an actual musical number, a pop number, which Richard Donner really didn't want in there and didn't like. I think that John Williams wasn't keen on the voiceover being used either. I think it was just like a comfortable medium between the two that they settled with Margot Kidder doing the voiceover for it. I could have done without it. I think it would have been nice as just a musical number, imagery speaking for itself. Yeah. I could have done without it. But nonetheless, that scene is in there, and it's really nice. I think it's an important scene to have. And it's the movie magic. It's scenes like that which I think are sorely missed in superhero films now, or films in general.
speaking of that scene, how did the physics of this work?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't
Like,
think
you get what I'm asking, though, right?
I do like. Yeah,
there's nothing. She's
I
over
know.
there. Like, that's So
I
she's
guess because
supporting her own weight.
Superman's so strong from like a single fingertip that he can counterbalance everything else that's going on.
Fuck that! Like, her whole weight is on her wrist for her to hold up. This is what should be happening.
It's a beautiful, wonderful, magical moment, JX. Okay, it's wonderful movie magic.
I know. Can you read my mind?
I've seen. Have you seen the alternate ending cut where it's in that scene? Superman drops her, and she falls to her death, and then he just smiles at the camera and cuts the credits. It's a great moment, and so many other moments from this film have clearly been inspired by this film. The one that immediately came to mind was Disney's Aladdin, the whole new world sequence, flying through the sky together, the romantic flight. They've done it in How to Train Your Dragon as well, and a number of things. So
Dragonheart.
Yeah. I don't know if this was the first film to do it, but in my mind, it certainly was. It's certainly up there as one of the most iconic moments between the two of them. And it's the perfect Lois and Clark for me, Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve. Like, you ain't going to do any better than this. They just nailed it across the board, the casting and the script and their chemistry, which I think is so important. Let's talk about our villains then. Lex Luthor. Sorry, Mr. Luthor. Gene Hackman, the late Gene Hackman.
Yeah, it's when he passed away, I heard about it from my father and my roommate, and they were talking about it says something about our lifestyle, about the lives that we lived, because I assumed something very different when because I guess so. He said that he was found with his wife and his ex-wife in their apartment. They were all dead, and he said they must have did it together.
Mm.
And what he meant was they must have committed suicide.
Yeah.
But when I heard that this man, his wife, and his ex-wife did it together, my mind went somewhere else. And then there must have been like carbon monoxide poisoning or something afterwards.
Yeah.
Not really related to this, but the fact that you said the late Gene Hackman, I felt like I should share this anecdote because I'm never going to get a chance to anywhere else.
I mean, 95 great innings, but yeah, fucking tragic end to an incredible actor, Gene Hackman. His career, even at this point, he was one of the highest paid actors on this. Him and Brando just had that gravitas in terms of their performances. We'll get on to Brando. Brando's a fucking cunt. Like, we'll talk about him in a second, but great actor. He's turned in some great performances and whatnot. But man alive, why do you have to be like that as a human being? Fucking A. I'm using your phraseology now. Anyway, Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman.
Hey, that's a good shout.
We've talked about like the animated series Lex Luthor, and I guess that's sort of where my mind always goes to Lex Luthor. Now, is Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor like that Lex Luthor? No, absolutely not. He's definitely played more for laughs in this. He is very much comic relief. But I like that. I think it's perfectly in keeping with the tone of Superman, the movie, 1978, especially that time period. I don't know much about the history of the comics, so I don't know if this was sort of what Lex Luthor was like in the comic books around this time period, and gradually he became more the serious businessman, the more ruthless kind of character. I'm not sure. I'm not the best person to ask on that, but I think it's a great performance.
Sorry.
Go on.
Well, do you think this Lex Luthor is the greatest criminal mind of his age, or do you think he just thinks he is?
I think he just thinks he is.
Yeah, me too. I just realized I hadn't done that.
Like, you look at the situation he's in. He talks about how many people Miss Tessmacher can offer you this amount of real estate in this part of New York. She's like, we're underneath the ground.
200 feet underground.
Yeah, 200 feet underground. So yeah, he fancies himself this great criminal mastermind, this person who's living in the lavish lifestyle, very much like and Stephen Fry has a great interview
Wait a
about
minute.
this where he... Go on, sorry.
Stephen Fry interview. Remember that he could have totally created this whole like underground real estate market legally.
But he also wants to get rid of Superman at the same time, I suppose. So that's got to factor
Well,
into the plan.
that's just opposition.
But yeah, how Stephen Fry says the difference between British humor and American humor, and the great British sitcom characters and comedy characters are ones that are really, really low down in the pecking order, but they believe themselves to be a higher status than they actually are, like Blackadder or Basil Fawlty or whatnot. That kind of ideal is what I believe Lex Luthor is in this. He thinks he's all this, exactly, and he just like his situation where he is, he just isn't that. Complete and utter narcissism. But I do like this little bit of a trifecta that we have with this, with the comic relief, with Miss Tessmacher and Otis. I think I actually love their scenes together. I think it's really good comedic timing. Yeah,
we need Otis back in DC. DC desperately needs Otis.
Mm-hmm. I love his little theme he gets. Boom, 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 boom.
Otisburg.
Yeah. It's just a small place, Mr. Luthor.
Otisburg.
I'll get rid of it. Yeah, I absolutely love all of their interplay, and I think it's just so charming. Just everything about the tone of this film just works for me. Now, if we get a Lex Luthor who showed up like this in sort of a more serious telling, would I like it? No. Case in point, what the fuck was Jesse Eisenberg doing in Batman versus Superman?
Thought you were going to say Kevin Spacey. Go on.
Well, no, yeah, he was definitely trying to do the whole Gene Hackman thing, but that whole movie was trying to be a Richard Donner thing, and it
was this.
Yeah, it was
that whole movie was this.
It was a confused fucking mess.
More than The Force Awakens is A New Hope, Superman Returns is Superman the movie.
Yeah. And then
we'll you have that debate in 4 weeks.
And then you have Jesse Eisenberg playing a great Mad Hatter or Riddler character, but he ain't Lex Luthor.
Oh, I never thought he'd do Mad Hatter, but yeah. Yeah, no, he'd nail that. But yeah, no, he was definitely playing the Riddler, though.
He just takes a Jolly Rancher and just shoves it into the guy's fucking
face. And it wasn't even a green one!
That film is a fucking hot mess.
I remember watching that scene where he's putting the Jolly Rancher in his mouth. I'm like, that's one, weird. 2, why is that not a green apple one? It's like he's literally talking about kryptonite. Like, if you were the least subtle director ever, you could have even gone further.
Do you have a favorite Lex Luthor moment or Otis, Miss Tessmacher Lex moment in this film?
You know what? I don't have a particular favorite, but I do have a note. I took this note when suddenly after they were starting to drive away from the nuclear missile, because they thought they had a mission accomplished, they then had a house on a truck ready to block the bridge. And I just have this note. When you're working with Otis, you're going to have a backup plan for your backup plan lined up. Not because you don't trust him. Well, you don't trust him.
No, I thought exactly the same thing. I was like, I can't even be mad at this because there's going to be a plan B, plan C.
He knows who he's working with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that the discovery of kryptonite is an elaborate guessing game.
What, the meteorite? Where they talk about meteorites?
Yeah, yeah. Well, also, they get the year wrong. It was 1938, not 48.
Mm. Oh, of that particular one, yeah. I don't know. It never even occurred to me. I just thought, okay, they explained it.
In the theater with the 3x4 at the beginning, it says that he lands during the Depression. Specifically, I think it was in 38.
Okay. Is that specifically the comic book though that we get told about that? That's not the continuity of the actual movie, is it?
Oh, is it? Do they not correlate? If not, then I'll.
Well, no, I guess
retract
it's
that.
just. I guess it is just set in the 70s. That's just what I always assumed. I guess I thought it was
Oh yeah,
always
no, but like
78.
he's got to age.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's set in any particular time. I think it's like Batman '89 in that sense. It's
Well,
just
he's like
this
30, isn't he?
this
As
time.
so yeah, 30. Yeah, it would have been in the it would have been the 40s, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess if you take this as it takes place when it came out, then it would be 48 if
Yeah,
he's 30 even. Although
that checks
wait,
out.
but he showed up at like 10 when he was like 10
Oh yeah,
or
we need
like
to factor that in
5
as well.
and his doodle's just hanging out
Yeah,
filming it.
yeah, that they didn't need to do
I'm like, "Oh,
that.
yeah." I'm like,
They
it's
could have
I
shot
get it.
around
It's
that.
the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really could have.
I mean, I'm surprised because I thought that Bryan Singer would be all over that in his Superman Returns film, but and maybe even Lex Luthor in that movie too. Who knows? Allegedly. Um, my favorite
Allegedly.
my favorite Lex moment is around that moment. Actually, it's where they're making their drive away. He's like, "I did it just like you told me, Mister Luthor. This one was at like what was it, 111 on this one or
Yeah,
117?"
the last thing is 117. I remember that because I play Halo.
Yeah. It's like,
It's
wait,
like
What
it's
about that last one?
11 and 7, you nincompoop nitwit Nimrod. He said a lot of N words,
It does.
but not that one.
No.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
I mean, it would be typical of the time, I suppose, but. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Luthor. You see, I ran out of space. I've got quite a short arm." So yeah, I love that moment. I love all that stuff. It's great. Another moment that I love, and this is just a great Reeve moment as well, just shows how he just completely encapsulates the character of Superman. Is where I actually think this plays better in the theatrical cut than the extended cut. The extended cut, you have the bit where Superman runs the gauntlet and there's machine gun fire on him, which is actually very indicative later on of Superman Returns with that whole gun turret moment. You have the bit where he's like flamethrowered and frozen and everything. He gets through all of that and he breaks down the door, and then Lex says, "It's open. Come on in." I don't see the need. I can see why they cut that, because there is a moment earlier where Otis says something like, "You mean to tell me that fire and gunfire do nothing on him, but this little space rock will?" So why would Lex Luthor set up guns and flamethrower when he knows that it doesn't do anything?
Oh, those aren't for Superman. Those are just there.
Oh,
that's
okay.
just security. When it's not enough to just push a cop in front of a moving train.
Yeah. But it's the bit where he says, "Take the man's cape," and Christopher Reeve just fixes him with his glance, like, "You ain't."
I don't think he wants me to, Mr. Luthor.
Yeah, it's just that moment is so good. Love it. I like Miss Tessmacher as well. I like that she has a bit of an arc as well. That her mother's in oh god, where is he gonna blow?
Happens something, New Jersey.
Hackensack, isn't it? Hackensack.
Hackensack. Yes. Thank you. I don't actually know the New Jersey geography.
And then that prompts her to save Superman and also sexually assault him.
Yeah, no, she it even admits that like it was definitely not consensual, because if you were conscious, you wouldn't have let me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's drowning with kryptonite around his neck. He is as vulnerable as Cassian Andor in the Cumnet. Bring it up, baby.
There we go.
Yeah. Every stream.
It's wonderful. I like. I guess we won't go like insanely in depth, but I love all of the supporting characters as well. And I think, everyone says, "Oh, we don't always need an origin story," and I get that argument. I do, but I think sometimes it is integral, and especially when so much of these supporting characters form the crux of that character. Stuff like Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, all the stuff in the Daily. I was going to say the Daily Bugle. Then it's very similar. I was going to talk about the impact of this film on other films, but also the Kent Farm stuff. Man, I actually thought we spent a lot more time on the Kent farm. Watching this again, the theatrical cut, maybe there's more stuff in the extended cut or certainly the TV cut, which I haven't seen. But I was actually surprised at how little Jonathan Kent is in this movie. He's in like
Yeah.
maybe 2 scenes.
Scene 1 where he picks up the kid. Scene 2 where he says, "Don't be
With great
thing,"
power comes great
and then he
responsibility.
dies in that
Yeah.
scene. So he
Yeah,
has
it's
2
like
scenes.
2
And
scenes.
then no one showed up to his funeral.
Yeah, it's quite sad, but it is a small town, isn't it? It's a very, very small town that he grew up in. But nonetheless, I think that
Big high school.
the impact of that scene's great. I love the actor who plays his father in that moment, Jonathan Kent. And the thing that I love about it the most, and this is something that is definitely lacking in Man of Steel, the scene's fucking retarded in Man of Steel. I hate it so much. I hate so much about that
what
film
you're
anyway.
about to say.
I love that the one thing that kills him, and Clark says this, is something that is completely out of his control. All of these powers, and he can't control it. That is fucking beautiful. It's tragic, but
yeah, no, I do. I love that angle. I respect and appreciate what Zack Snyder was trying to do with Jonathan's death by making it preventable, but not without revealing Clark. But he really fucked up in setting up that corner for him to be backed into. If I think there's something there that could have been done to not have the heart attack angle, but he fucked it up. He did that. I'm not saying that scene works. I'm saying that the idea could have worked.
It's just the fact of something so simple in that original film.
Literally in his only other scene, they're like, he's fixing the tire, and his wife's like, "Hey, your doctor said be careful about your heart," and then he just kind of looks over. Is like, how did that big trail of fire get there without me noticing?
I do think this film could have benefited with a few more scenes of Jonathan Kent, because, as I say, I always remembered there being more, but nonetheless, I think I think the actors and the music in that scene certainly really still does deliver that impact, and I think it is still a very, very emotional scene for all the characters involved. It would have just been nice to have had more. Again, another comparison is the Uncle Ben scene in the original the original Spider-Man film. Sorry. That trilogy mirrors, probably intentionally so, very much so, the Superman trilogy, the first 3, I would say, in a lot of ways, in terms of the beats of the story, the themes that the characters are going through, and the different stages of the character. Even like Perry White, I was thinking, I was watching this with my folks last night, and they went to see this when it first came out at the cinema, which was to be an incredible experience. And my mom got really excited because she was saying, "Oh, I can't wait until that funny one that Jay Jonah shows up in the newsroom." I was like, "That's Spider-Man." Just like, "Oh, yeah, of course it is, of course it is." But it's very, he's got the cigar in this, and he's issuing orders to all of his reporters and whatnot.
Great Scott.
And it's the only one where Perry White's played by a white guy, isn't it? We've race swapped him twice now, Man of Steel and in this new one as well.
Well, no, in
in Returns?
Superman Returns.
Oh, okay. I can't even remember him.
Doesn't look like this guy at all. I feel like he was miscast because I'm pretty sure that movie's meant to take place in this continuity.
The jury's still out on that one. It's like, you know what it feels like?
Unclear.
This is actually
The Force Awakens,
similar to what it is. No. You know how you get those really low budget direct-to-video sequels to it? You get like Home Alone 6, and it's meant to be Kevin McAllister and his family, and they're all played by different people. It's like, well, my brain just goes, this isn't in the same continuity then. This is something different. I don't care if you call in the characters the same names. It just isn't in my mind.
Have you seen Home Alone 3?
Yes. A lot of people like that
one. Home Alone 3.
A lot of people do.
It's not Kevin McAllister. It's not meant to be Kevin McAllister. It's just a different kid who is left home alone for completely different reasons, and the reasons are understandable, so his family isn't the fucking worst.
Yeah, we need a Home Alone sequel, but with Macaulay Culkin back and the family, and
it's called Saw.
Everything's but everything's different now, because do you remember how in the original Home Alone he's making his way to the treehouse at the end, And he's like, hi, I'm going to call the cops. And he goes, quickly, we've got to get him. And he's like, what, he's going to call the cops, what, from a treehouse? Because everyone was on a fucking landline back in the 90s, and now everyone has cell phones and iPads, and it's...
Yeah, that's not a
movie's
problem.
over. Yeah. So, yeah, we've talked about all the characters. I guess we haven't talked about... Okay, let's talk about Brando, because I'm going to go off a fucking Brando rant on this one.
Okay, let me go through some notes real quick before.
Sure.
She sounds bored during the poem. Oh, can anyone that Superman brings in that night, the big montage of his first night out, can any of them be prosecuted legally?
I don't know. It's fine. That poor girl though,
so.
in the cat in the tree scene, that poor girl.
Oh my god, yeah, no. Like her mom's gonna read the newspaper and conveniently forget what happened the night before.
It's just like, help.
That doesn't sound like something I'd do.
She's like, this man help my cat out of the tree. Listen here, you little bitch. You just hear it getting smacked about.
Speaking of mothers calling their daughters lying little shits, on the train when Jeff East is destroying his thighs, and we see a little girl see him in different cuts, in some cuts of the film, that is a young Lois Lane, and I actually prefer that. I know it's stupid, but the woman who is her mother, playing her mother, and calls her a liar and said you shouldn't make shit up. You're going to be a great reporter. That woman played Lois Lane in the George Reeve Superman show.
So that's cool. See, I knew of that scene, but I didn't realize there was a cameo there. I don't know. It makes the world so fucking small for me, and I feel like when
it's Superman... a Smallville. Somebody say.
I feel like Lois would remember that though, and she'd be like, hey, when I was a little girl, I saw someone like running at the speed of a train, whereas it feels like she's not aware of Superman until Superman fucking shows up and starts saving people in the streets and starts to get a bit of a reputation. So I don't like it. It feels very much like...
that is a good point.
It's like, in the hands of your father, Han Solo. Like, get it. Okay, sure.
There's a scene in there's like a scene 5 scenes later that gives us the exact same reveal so much better.
Yeah.
Leia, I saw our son. He was here.
Yeah, it's probably that moment with Snoke in that movie is probably one of the worst bits of expositional dialogue I've ever seen in my life. It's awful.
Yeah, no, that is pretty bad. That's pretty awful. You know what? But it is dwarfed by Rey finding out she's a Palpatine.
Yes. Yes, agreed. So we talked about a lot of the characters with this one then, so let's come at this with a bit of a different angle. Oh no, we were talking about Marlon Brando.
No, you're about to go on a rant on Brando.
I am.
I wanted to
billing
keep
in this movie.
Peaceful first, and then oh my god, destroy him. Do it.
Top billing. This fucking pushmuck over here. Right, okay. Yeah, so this guy, now granted, he was a very prolific actor at the time. I'm not going to take that away from him, but my god, this guy sounds fucking insufferable. And I've heard about his reputation on other sets, notably Apocalypse Now, showing up overweight, drunk, didn't know his lines, showing up late, not showing up at all of this shit. Right, his salary for this movie was $3.7 million. This was back in 1978, by the way.
Yeah, so this is real money.
And also on top of that, so just shy of $4 million for his salary for the film, he also took an 11.75% of the box office gross profits on top of this. This film made bank when it came out. I think this movie made like 300 mil back then. A lot of fucking money. He also came in with an insane idea. So the Salkinds were the producers who originally came up with this idea that they wanted to get a film greenlit. They were the producers on the film. Brando came in and he suggested and was lobbying that Jor-El be portrayed as a green suitcase or a bagel with his voice.
Yes.
Fucking insanity. Well, the Salkinds were fucking horrified and mortified at this, understandably so. And it was only Richard Donner, through flattery and probably knew how to schmooze and whatnot, like, oh, I've dealt with these Hollywood types before, that was able to talk him down. But he wouldn't learn his lines. He had to have cue cards for every single scene. He wouldn't memorize any lines. And he had it in his contract as well that he wanted everything done in 12 days. No more, no less. You've only got me for 12 days. Absolute asshole. And then on top of this as well, after all was said and done, he sued the Salkinds, the producers, and Warner Brothers for a further $50 million because he felt cheated out of his share of the box office profits. Cunt.
Fucking hate Marlon Brando.
Fucking cunt. I don't care. He's a fucking prick.
That guy. Yeah, no, seriously.
But he's pretty good as Jor-El. He's pretty good as Jor-El.
Yeah, he's pretty good as Jor-El, and
only Marlon Brando would be that guy that would intentionally mispronounce Krypton in every single scene. The planet Krypton. I fucking hate it.
Even the children of the planet Krypton. By the way, Ursa's perversions have threatened the children of planet Krypton. What does that mean?
I don't know, but sign me up for a whole bunch of perversions. I'm down. Let's go. She can wear this. She can wear the 70s disco outfit as well. Let's go. She should bring out the she could bring out the leather glove like Dedra. We have ways of making you talk.
Turn out the lights.
Oh, sure.
I can't believe you had me followed.
I feel better now. I just had to vent about Marlon Brando for a while.
No, I understand. Sometimes you just got to bitch about Marlon Brando. Sometimes you want to be Marlon Brando. Sometimes you fucking hate Marlon Brando.
Well, let's talk about sort of this film's split into 3 sections, really. Got the opening act, middle act, and third act, but certainly 3 distinct settings. So we open with Krypton, which I love the build up to that as well. Oh, Krypton, the planet Krypton. Brinsley's already left, but he mentioned earlier, I love the Krypton theme, by the way. Yeah. I love the reveal of that as well. You have the Superman fanfare, and then you have this slow build that as we like fade through like smoke machines, and it's wonderfully done. And the miniatures are great as well.
Spark effects that are meant to be like nebulas or something that don't make any sense. They're not in space, but whatever.
Looks like paint. It looks like someone's sort of like throwing paint on a canvas.
Sometimes that's what it looks like. Yeah, sometimes it looks like somebody's waving a sparkler in front of the screen.
Mm-hmm. I love it though. It's all smoke. Yeah, it's literally smoke and mirrors. I love it.
I actually do a similar effect with the stars at the beginning of my Kenobi edit.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to test out like depth with different like stars, so like have the stars move at different rates because they're farther away from the camera.
I really like the dome effect on Krypton as well. I really like the look of this miniature.
I like that. I have a question. Mm-hmm. What is this dome room used for generally?
General Zodley. I just hear it's just the court, isn't it? Is that what it is, or is this where the entire city is contained within?
Well, no, it's not. The city isn't contained within, because that one room is the whole dome.
Oh,
we
wow.
see this.
Okay. Yeah.
It's all that one dome. And we learned this in the next movie, they've only ever had 3 criminals. What is this room for?
Well, I guess it's various council chambers. I don't know. There's the big shadowy guys that appear on the screen. Guilty.
Guilty.
It sounds like Winston Churchill. And I know that this scene is one that's in the extended edition and the TV cut as well. There's a lot more stuff on Krypton and Planet Krypton, and more conversations with Marlon Brando over the joys. So I would like to see that cut. The costumes are very interesting. I actually quite like that really shiny, sparkly silver design. I think it reflects the light really well, especially when we go back.
That's the same stuff on the lightsabers.
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh,
it's the reflective material that's on lightsabers, film something, and stop signs.
Or did they just have some lying around and was like, let's make some costumes out of this?
No, you order it.
Let's wrap everyone in tin foil. Yeah, some of the designs, it's so 1970s sci-fi, but I'm here for it. Like I love that shit. Like the little 2 hula hoops that are like oscillating with each other, the protective barrier around Ursa, Zod, and Nan.
Yeah, the two hula.
It's like, you know,
they
you
just
do like the hula
they
hoop with
just had to
them.
get that. I'm just like, I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, how did they film it? They only need one clean cycle and they can loop it.
Yeah.
So did they just like have the things and then, or how do you do this? How
And
can
Zod
you
is
do this in a controlled environment? I must know. And what happens if they try to leave?
what do you mean? As in try? I
Like,
guess they're
what if
just
they tried to jump
instantly
over it?
killed. I guess just instantly
I
killed,
don't.
or
I don't.
are they held?
That doesn't
Oh no,
seem
because they
Kryptonian
walk.
to me.
I was going to say, are they held sort of like motionless, but they're not, because when they mention Ursa, she kind of walks towards the camera a little bit. Like there's movement there.
And then the big guy like, I am stupid.
I just love how 70s disco they all look. With like
They
the
are
big fucking
incredibly
shoulder
70s
pads
disco.
on them. Yeah, like the what do you call them? Like the one piece thing, whatever you call them. It's not a jumpsuit, is it? What do you call it? It's a jumpsuit, isn't it?
Oh, what would it be? No, they're not jumpsuits, but they're oh my god, this is gonna bother me. They're what the they're like what priests wear.
I guess so, yeah. There is a name for it. It just
Oh
escapes me now. But
yeah, me too.
Terrence Stamp, pure sequel baiting. 0 stars, this movie. Sequel baiting right from the opening scene.
Yeah, literally, like there is nothing about that opening scene that has to do with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I'm kidding. It's great. I know that they were filming both of these back to back. The Phantom Zone stuff has been parodied, and it does look very hokey and corny. It looks like they're stuck on an album cover or something, just floating through space.
I like that though. I really like that effect because it's a portrayal of something that we cannot perceive physically.
Mm-hmm.
And so by having it something that we can perceive that is utterly impossible, that sort of makes it work in my head.
It reminds me of
I think they could still do that effect actually.
Have you seen This Is Spinal Tap?
Yes.
It reminds me when they're looking at the album cover, Smell the Glove. It's like how much more black could this be? And the answer is none more black. It's just they're all stuck on this album cover, like their voices are a little like more high pitched, like help us, please help us. I don't know. It's a little bit hokey, but I love it. I warts and all, like I'm fine with.
I don't like that she's yelling "forgive us" or "forgive me."
It's fine. They'll be playing, wouldn't they? It's better than the fucking black dildo rockets that we got in Man of Steel.
That couldn't have been on purpose,
right? Dude, you've seen the scene. How can you not think that?
Well, the thing is, because it's a sarcophagus with room
I know
for the head.
I know,
and that is inherently phallic.
But it's the head and it's the shaft and it's
then
the
there's
balls. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, it's very possibly that was possibly on purpose.
Oh God, Lord have mercy, that movie. What makes me laugh as well, and maybe this is played out differently in the various different cuts, but this is, as I say, I'm going off the theatrical here. You have Jor-El meeting with the council, and he says, Krypton will explode in 30 days or less. It's a lot fucking less, because how it plays out in the movie, he goes home and the planet starts exploding. So
yeah.
And I was thinking, is there a huge passage of time that's meant to take place where he leaves the council chamber and he goes home, he makes preparations, builds the rocket, gets everything set up, records all the devices? Maybe, but it doesn't feel like that as a viewer.
I think there's a scene for that, but it still seems to be the same day. Yeah.
It feels very instantaneous, doesn't it? I do like the speech he gives baby Kal-El before he leaves him, and I actually think I watched Superman. I think that was my first Superman film that I watched was Superman Returns. So I didn't think anything of it of the opening Jor-El speech. I thought, oh, okay, that's just the opening speech. And when I watched this movie, I was like, oh,
the father,
the son. Yeah, I bequeath you,
There's
my
a little
child.
wrinkle in your diaper that's actually covering up this line. I'm just gonna.
I do think it's for like well, again, like the religious stuff. He's sending his son. Even some of the quotes he says as well, that they could be a great people, Kal. They only lack the light to show them the way. Very, very sort of God's. I send them you, my only son, down there, on a star, for fuck's sake, as well. Like this little star rocket coming to Earth. I do laugh at how janky it looks when it smashes through the skyline.
It's just.
And it's on like a bit of a string. It's just like a disco ball. It's fine. I love it. I don't give a fuck. Like I love it. I love stuff like that. You know I do.
So Jor-El tells him when he find in the Fortress of Solitude, you have been, by this time I have been dead for many thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
How did he give him like? How did he have knowledge of Einstein's theory of relativity?
Well, they mentioned that. So this is like a super advanced race.
Different galaxies have,
aren't they?
Oh, well. Also, he says different galaxies have different rules for space and time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, oh, hey, about that.
Because his mom, who I've it's Lara, isn't it? Is it? Yeah, Lara is his biological mom. Is it Lara? Superman's mom?
No, it's. I think it's. There's
I think it's
Lana
Lara.
Lane. I think it's Lara.
Yeah. Anyway,
Kara is his cousin.
Yeah, she mentions that it's a primitive race, ages behind us. So, yeah, I think it's just
that was 10,000 years ago.
That's a fair point.
We didn't even have civilization 10,000 years ago.
Well, no, it doesn't take him that long to travel there, though, does it? Like how fast the rocket's going.
Well,
relatively, it would be many thousands of years.
Yeah,
but yeah,
because if he's traveling on a beam of light, then the time that passes would be actually like basically nothing for him. Which it isn't, because he goes from baby to like what is he meant to be? Like 6, 5?
Yeah, he's basically, he's a toddler, isn't he, at that point? So probably like
like
4. Yeah, no, he's young. I do like that Jor-El gives him an in-flight movie though, and gives him like this crash course in knowledge. It's like he wouldn't understand words. I know he needs words to be able to understand words, but of the 29 known galaxies or whatever it is, it's like he's just popped out the womb, my guy. Like, chill out.
This is how save the existential crisis.
This is how like a Chinese family raises their kid. Like, let's bring up some comments right here. So Bathtime says, "I kind of see Russell Crowe as Brando-esque figure. So nice to see they had him fighting dragons on a bat or whatever in the Henry Cavill film."
I mean, he literally has a song called "I Want to Be Like Henry Cavill." I want to be like Marlon Brando.
Bathtime says, "Do we not say hellos anymore?" Hello. Oh yeah, big up the lads. Shout out to Superman, the immigrant's dream hero. I guess he is. Yeah, it's fair point.
Mean, yeah. Die bist ein Jude.
Then we have sort of the second location in this film. It's all the Kent Farm stuff and the stuff with him as a teenager, which I know that the extended cut, the TV cut, has a lot more of, especially his stuff at the high school. And it is Lana Lane, isn't it? The whatever her name is,
Lana Lang
or something, isn't it? Yeah, that's the cheerleader, right? Who asks him to come and listen to records.
Yeah, she comes back in the third one.
Yeah, because Margot Kidder's not in that one, right? They write her out of it.
She's at the very beginning. She stops by the office to show everyone her bikini and then leaves.
Is it pink?
That's what happens. That's exactly what happens.
Wow, love it. I'm sold. Can we just skip right ahead to Superman 3 next week?
She's not wearing it. She's like, "This is my bikini. I'm going here. This is my bikini. Bye."
Ka-ching, paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not like they can do another love story with her.
Oh. Give it time.
Yeah.
Give it time. I love the stuff on the Kent farm. This is some of the most emotional stuff for me in the film, and I mean, I guess my Superman film growing up was Hercules, because I remember the time where it occurred to me, I was like, "Oh my god, Disney's Hercules is exactly the same story as Superman. It's identical. It's beat for beat.
It is.
Especially this stuff on the farm where he leaves his family to try and find his upbringing, and he finds out he's the son of a god. Essentially, yeah, it's all there.
Does Hercules make his adopted mother walk like a fucking mile to say goodbye?
And she's an old
Because
woman.
Clark's a bit of a cunt. Like, Clark's a bit of a cunt for making her walk all that way for him to tell her he's leaving.
It's like Billy Connolly, where he's like, "There's an old woman. I don't know how old. The kind of woman you look at and say, that's an old woman." But that moment when he says his goodbye and he's already made his decision, he's already made preparations and plans, and he's getting someone to help take care of the farm. The music in that part as well. I can't remember if that theme occurs in the second one or throughout the rest of the film, but it's this gorgeous sweeping melody when you have the crane shot as well, where it just sort of like that dollies past the cornfields. It's such a poignant moment, I think, for the character. Any moment like that where a character leaves home, and here you go, bath time, this is your hero's journey. The hero's leaving home into a world of the unknown, of answers. Yeah, I love all that stuff. The bit with Jonathan, as we mentioned earlier, is really hard hitting for me. But all the stuff with his mom as well. It's all really well handled.
Bath time. Oh wait, no, never mind. It's Lois Lane. I was gonna say who's the goddess, but like the whole arc of Superman 2 is that part of the hero's journey, isn't it? Like the overcoming temptation of the goddess.
Yeah.
That's literally what the plot is, and then Zod shows up.
I do like how 1950s Sunday, Monday, happy days kind of feeling it is with Smallville and like his junior high and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, then we get that scene. So then he makes his way to. Is it explained how he knows that he needs to head north? Because she says, "Do you know where you're headed?" And he just goes north. Does the crystal sort of like vibrate or to speak to him to tell him to head north?
He explains it in the second one to Lois, and he says,
okay.
like, I found this crystal, and I just knew where to go.
Oh, okay.
Like,
and is there a reason that it has to be? Is there a reason that it has to be the Arctic that this crystal will work in? Does it need to be cold temperatures, or
I don't know?
Is it just the most?
It might just be an isolation thing.
Yeah. It's the most.
It's like where crystal would not be noticed because of ice.
This is one of the biggest leaps in logic for me in the film, and I get why the film needed to do it. I actually didn't time it to see how far into the movie. Well, I suppose it depends which cut you're watching, how far into the movie you are at this point, runtime wise. And it's like, we really need to get Superman in this movie. We really need to get Christopher Reeve going and get him in the suit. How do we handle this? Because he's still a teenager. Well, you have him almost being like a kind of stasis. Yeah, he's in some kind of stasis, because you hear through the voiceover of Jor-El saying that together we will find the answers together. And then he'll say, over the last 2 years, we have been talking about human history, and all these rules. And then it's like, for the last 3 years, we have been doing this. And all of this is in voiceover. And it's a nice moment where we're panning through space and it showcases that passage of time. And then we just cut back and he's Christopher Reeve and he's in the suit and boom, off we go. We're into our movie. That's one of the two biggest leaps of logic for me in this movie. And the other one is obvious, which we'll talk about when we get to the ending of this film. I don't like that transition so much. I think it is a little bit ham-fisted. I know why they had to do it. And when you just swept in the magic, the movie magic of the film, its pros definitely outweigh its cons. But this is one of the moments where I'm like, that's a little bit lazy. You could have written around that. I think it's fine, but it's just how it hard cuts back. We've got a brand new actor and he's already good to go in the costume.
Sounds the same.
So I'm like, did he eat? Did he like go back to Smallville occasionally
when
to
he was
like
hungry,
have a bite to eat?
He literally got asked that in the interview with Lois Lane. when he is hungry, he eats.
Mm-hmm. Like, did he eat polar bears? I think Superman could take a polar bear quite
He ate
easily.
a penguin.
Yeah, he could like char grill it as well with his laser beams.
But,
Wait, no laser beam eyes in this one.
Penguins are south. Yeah, no. He ate a polar bear. Because
No,
Arctic means there are bears here.
does he use the laser eyes in this movie?
No.
No, that's
He does not.
The Superman 2 thing. Oh, he does it when Lois is falling. He like stops the fruit stand, doesn't he, to catch her fall in Superman 2?
Yeah, that's in the second one.
So I'm saying, like, he has that power.
So
he could
vision
cook
is just
a polar
one
bear.
of those powers they decided to give him in Superman 2.
Well, this was meant to be an Act 1, Act 2,
though.
I suppose, wasn't it? Yeah. But I see what you mean. Yeah, it doesn't get used in this.
What do you think of the crystal being green?
Yeah, I always wondered that because I thought, oh, that's kryptonite. He's gonna die. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, well,
yeah. So we're making that like gold or something, right? If we ever.
Well, I thought that, but then I thought, well, it is meant to be a part of. So clearly, these crystals have different properties, and some parts of his home world are non-effective against him, and others are.
Well,
it's a little bit strange.
I feel like when you irradiate those crystals that everything is made of, it becomes kryptonite.
I would think so.
They're literally infused with red solar energy. Wait, why are they green?
Well, it's a part of his homeworld. Like, he talks about the meteorites that landed to Earth are a part of his planet and will make him weak. It will bring him in close proximity of the kind of atmosphere and the kind of temperament that was on his planet. You would assume
Superman
that the crystal
said that during the interview.
Yeah,
he didn't hear.
You would assume,
even though we heard the whole interview,
you would assume that crystal that Jor-El packs with him in his little baby stroller would have the same property. It would also have that weakening effect on him.
Yeah, but it's not irradiated.
Yeah, that was nice of him.
Like, it's an Earth. I said it's an Earth because I was thinking Earth like a stone. Mm-hmm. It's material it's Kryptonian material infused with Kryptonian radiation.
Mm-hmm.
Which, so like those are the two bugaboos about kryptonite.
And then I guess after all of that stuff, then we get we're in Metropolis for the remainder of the film now. Here we go.
You know what? Say what you will about the Zack Snyder movies. The presence of kryptonite on Earth makes a lot more sense.
I'm trying to remember what it is there. It's is it something to do with that
Zod
World Devastator? Is it the World Devastator?
It's from the terraforming. Yeah, it's just pieces of Krypton from when he was turning Earth into Krypton.
Mm-hmm. Terraforming. Every arch villain's bad guy motive now. It's just, we got to terraform the Earth. I'm like, of course you do. It's the plot to it's the plot to every Transformers movie. I swear to God. Megatron's trying to terraform Earth to make it more like Cybertron. And I'm like, oh, Sentinel Prime wants to terraform the Earth.
Yeah.
All the Metropolis stuff.
To be fair, it makes the concept of destroying the Earth actually make sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm just
like, an alien species is here and they've come to destroy the Earth. Why?
I still don't understand why they had to pick Earth to terraform in Man of Steel. They could have just picked any planet and just used these devices on it, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I think it's because it's to do with the fact that we have an atmosphere. Because I was wondering, they literally just needed a line about how Mars doesn't have a magnetic core.
There you go. That's on topic. Battime says, I like Mars attacks because their goal just seemed to be pissing about. So true.
Were they hostile or was it the bird? Had they seen War of the Worlds and they knew that the bird is what did it?
Indeed. Right, Metropolis. Let's talk about all the Metropolis stuff then, which is a big chunk of the movie. So have at it, I guess.
Oh wait, just real quick, back on Krypton. Is it weird that we never see Zod's symbol? Like, we see all these symbols in the on the different members of the council, with their different house logos. And I know General Zod's logo is like the most on the nose bad guy of the era because it's
Maybe
just the sickle from the Russian flag.
Maybe they just removed it from him, stripped him
Or
of all
Soviet
titles, like he's a prisoner. It's essentially
No, I get it, but he got a thing though to tell us he's a bad guy and he's a communist.
He's just like the fallen angel, isn't he? It's like casting the devil out, I suppose, at the very beginning of the film. That sort of like dark void they all find themselves in, where they're ruling to banish him, essentially. Yeah, Metropolis then. Let's go for it.
Yes.
The entire rest of the movie. I guess we could talk about Lex's overall plot if you want to, if that sort of focuses it down a little bit more.
How he's and rapist.
One.
Good place to start. Apparently, like, it's literally, I think the first thing we see in Metropolis is Perry White telling Lois Lane there's only one P in rapist.
There's little moments in the Daily Planet that I really appreciate, and it's the bit where Perry White gets all of his reporters in, and he says like, I want to know his favorite food. Like, does he have a girlfriend? Does he have this? And then he goes up to Clark and he says like, what's his favorite sports team? And it looks like Clark's about to answer the question.
He's about to answer.
He raises the pen.
It's like, the Smallville, the Smallville something or others.
It's just little moments like that. It's so important. And it is like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, that so much of the strength of that movie is all of the supporting stuff as well to the character. Again, in like modern adaptations of the Spider-Man character, whether it's Andrew Garfield or whether it's Tom Holland, they just do away again with all of the Daily Bugle stuff. And I think it's just so integral to the character and the identity of the character. Bath Time says, was Superman traditionally this kind of agricultural Rust Belt worker against capitalists like Luthor?
That's an interesting way of that's an interesting way of looking at it, but okay.
Capitalism isn't necessarily evil, though. It's evil when you went.
No. Let's not get into that debate. Let's. I wouldn't classify Luthor as just a capitalist. Like he's like the definition of a lazy capitalist, of a sit back, let the work happen and collect capitalist. He's not a cog in a moving in a machine. You know what I mean? Of a system that works. He just collects.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit. He literally is trying to. I mean, is it real estate fraud?
Yeah. It wouldn't be the first time in human history that people have done that.
But is it fraud?
I guess so, because
he bought it. He bought the desert property, and then he's going to sell beachfront property. It was desert property. It will be beachfront. Excuse me.
Bath Time says it's about attitudes, I think, because he goes from Smallville to Metropolis, which is like the traditional big city with different values to small towns, and Luthor is kind of the worst version of these values.
Yes, he is. Yes, he most certainly is.
So Luthor's plan,
well said,
is to hijack 2 missiles and launch them at 2 various places where Superman isn't going to be fast enough to get to both of those. One of which is going to land in the San Andreas Fault, which is going to cause the entire coast to collapse into the sea. He's bought up all of the land, and he's going to have his own little complex, his own real estate place where everyone's going to move to. It's very hokey. It's played comedically, I would say, even though they keep stressing in the film that millions of people are going to die. It's the whole Otisburg thing for me, and just everything. And was it Lexington or whatever it is? His comedic delivery, Gene Hackman, is just outstanding all the way.
Isn't it like Tessmacherville or something?
Something like that, yeah.
He had one in there for her, and then I think that was Otis's excuse.
I do love the scene. We talked about it earlier with sort of like how it's composited in, but I love the moment where Superman flies into like the planet core, and he's surrounded by magma, and he's like lifting up rocks, and it cuts that wide shot, and you just see him almost like Atlas lifting the world on his shoulder. It's so cool. And the color scheme in that scene. So he's saving everyone, and then we get to probably the most controversial scene from this movie, I would say, and it's the if Superman could turn back time, he'd give it all to you, and he'd also be able to save Margot Kidder from almost certain death. Nothing about this scene makes sense. I'm always okayed it. I'm like, it's fine. It serves as a conclusion to the film. But if you even stop 1 second to think about it, there's not a shred of this ending that makes a lick of sense.
You know what? I have oh no, I can't do it. It's your spam bots will delete it. I created a clip that it's just a concept using footage from the other two movies and some of this movie that's just, what if there were actual consequences to Superman doing this? Because
right?
unless there are, like, okay, he does this and a nuke does not go off in Jersey. That means at some point there are two Supermans. Superman 2 with a backwards 2, Bizarro. It was right there.
Yeah. It's the only explanation.
Have Marlon Brando be like, you only have one soul and it's divided between the two of you, and eventually one of you become the paragon of good and virtue that I've trained you to be. The other is perfect antithesis. On Krypton, we call it the Bizarro effect. Something like that.
And then he just turns to the camera.
He's already looking at the camera. He is a head overlay.
With some kind of Bizarro squad.
Oh my God.
No, I think every time I've watched this ending, and I've made my peace with the ending. I've made my quest for peace with the ending, but it doesn't make any sense at all, because yeah, you see Superman, he is not fast enough to get both of these missiles. He saves, he plugs the dam, he saves the train, he saves the village and all of that stuff, but he's too late to save Lois, and he turns back time, and somehow all of that stuff is being taken care of, or has already been taken care of, and then he's so yeah, there has to be, it's the only possible explanation. There has to be two Supermen at the ending.
Second Superman.
Yeah. And then we're caught in some kind of time loop at that point. So then what happens to that other Superman? It's, yeah, not a lick of it makes sense. And the reason for this is, we know now why the reason this was put in the movie is that this was meant to be the climax to Superman 2, when both of them were being filmed back to back. During the whole production of this, 75% of Superman 2 had been filmed before the studio put the kibosh on it and told them to pack up shop and that they weren't going to continue producing Superman 2. Richard Donner was kicked off the project because he was going over budget, over schedule, despite the fact that he wasn't given a budget and wasn't given a schedule. Go figure, that's Hollywood. So he was punted off, and basically movie 1 needs an ending. And I'm assuming at that point, the ending for Superman 2 had already been filmed, or the idea of it at least was already circulating. So they chopped that ending out and move it to the end of movie 1. And now Superman 2 needs a new ending when we come to make Superman 2. And Superman 2 is happening, because the end credits, I always thought Marvel was, or the Bond films were the first things to do this. But at the very end of the credits, Superman 2 next year. This was always intended to be the two-parter. The plan was to shoot both films. Yeah, the plan was to shoot both films back to back. If the first film did well, then they would continue plans and release Superman 2. If it failed, then they just cut their losses and they wouldn't. But I mean, to put that level of confidence into it right off the bat and go, yeah, well, superhero films haven't really been done, but we're going to film 2 feature films back to back. Now you just get that with trilogies. The Lord of the Rings is probably one of the best examples of that. You have other sequels like Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest and At World's End that film back to back, Back to Future Part 2 and Part 3. I think the Matrix films, Reloaded and Revolutions, did that too. A lot of films do it now. The Avatar films that will be coming out for the rest of my fucking lifetime apparently too. But this was kind of unheard of around that time, I think, especially for a big budget blockbuster like this to do that. It seems quite undertaken.
Real quick, I saw what Bath Time said. I think, this one.
Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
Did Galaxy Quest do the same thing in more of a satisfying way, referring to the
Yeah.
Omega 13 turning back time? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. Well done. Yeah, they 100% did.
It makes a lot
Also,
more
another
sense.
thing he said with the about Dark Knight.
Let me just read this comment out first. Do you think the Dark Knight takes any inspiration from this idea of not being able to save both things? It happens in Infamous and probably Spider-Man as well. It happens in a lot of things. Batman Forever, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to say
the
version in Spider-Man is more akin to Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Because it's literally they're both right here. You're just not going to be able to. I haven't seen Infamous, so I don't know the example.
But yeah, we'll talk about the legacy that this film has and the impact that it's had on the genre, because it's profound. It really, really is.
Yeah, no-win scenarios are a supervillain classic, and this movie very well could have started that.
But yeah, the turning back time, I'm not. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think I would have liked it in Superman 2 either, because yeah, he turns the Earth back on its axis the complete opposite way, which would have devastating ramifications if that were to happen.
And it wouldn't turn back time.
No, it wouldn't.
It would just kill. It would just annihilate all life on Earth.
And this is where it falls into this is fun, campy 1970s Superman, and I'm okay with it.
Would you like a shot of copium?
Oh, no, I will completely agree. It is pure and utter copium. Yeah.
No. Would you like? No. I've got a shot of copium for you if you'd like it. You see, by using the rotation of the Earth, or by using the gravity of the rotation of the Earth, Superman is actually able to propel himself faster than light. Thus, he is able to. He's not actually. We're not seeing him reverse the rotation of the Earth. We're seeing the Earth start to go backwards as he is traveling back in time.
Well, there are moments. There are moments with Superman, and I know he moves ridiculously fast. One of the bits that always makes me laugh is where he climbs out of the window at the Daily Planet, and he jumps out, and as he's free falling, he transforms into the costume.
I keep forgetting to. Yeah, that's not so much. He's not changing. He's just fading.
Well, the thing is, like, you could infer, okay,
he's going so fast.
And I was trying to think of this, and you have the iconic moment, which you did before we went live, where he runs into the camera, and underneath his work clothes, he has the Superman outfit. That's fine. I'm assuming he's got his cape attached to the back of it as well, underneath his jacket, maybe.
It's like rolled up.
What about the boots? I was watching it. I was shoveling my copium down me. All of those tablets of copium. I was like, yeah, his costume's underneath. I was like, fuck, the boots.
Oh,
the hairstyle.
Dude, you got to inject directly into the vein. It's not. The tablets don't work.
That's like shit. It doesn't work.
Where do those boots come from? Holy shit, where do the boots come from? And these boots don't even have the Superman logo that makes it so you can't put them in a briefcase.
Could it be a green briefcase with the voice of Marlon Brando?
Oh my god!
What if the suitcase contained a bagel that also had another voice of Marlon Brando inside?
Speaking of things we were talking about earlier, I keep remembering this, and then I don't. Do you remember when you were talking earlier about you can see him transition to Clark Kent in that scene after the interview?
Yeah.
Do you know how they did that shot? Because it's all one take.
Oh, JX, we're losing you. We're losing you. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, holy fuck. You went. You totally went. You totally cut out there. I don't even know what you said. You asked me, do you know how they did that
now?
tape?
How am I doing?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Yeah.
We're good.
Do you know how they did the that shot of Lois waving goodbye to or Superman waves by, flies off, camera does not cut away, follows Lois Lane, she walks across her apartment, answers her door, there's Clark Kent.
Well, I'm guessing that when he flew off around the corner, someone was there with garden shears, which had to cut the wires that he was on at that moment. He's gone. He's gone, folks. He'll be back in a second. This gives me time to get to some of the comments right here. Bath Time says they probably saw the reaction to Star Wars and thought the market was open to these kind of sci-fi fantasies with heavy special effects. Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a lot of Star Wars. In fact, George Lucas was approached initially to direct, but he was tied up with Star Wars around this time. And Bath Time says you'd have loved it in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Imagine if they'd have gone through with that. Yeah, the original ending to that movie was going to be a whole bunch of time travel and retconning everything, the entire series. So I'm glad they didn't do that. If only they could have just not made the entire movie.
Like, what do you mean by retconning the whole series? I'm really curious. What does that mean?
At the end of the movie,
I didn't see the movie.
When you see the movie,
should I explain how they did the effect first?
Yeah, go on.
Because that is where I got. Superman, that's a screen with a projection of the footage of him flying away that Lois Lane that Margot Kidder is waving goodbye to, and then that's
no way.
Christopher Reeves at the door.
That's amazing.
Party in his Clark Kent kit. I love that.
1978 looks fucking outstanding. I didn't know that
because it was
amazing.
Done in the camera. Technically,
yeah.
I mean, they'd already done special effects on footage that they then filmed. But fuck you.
No, that's brilliant. I didn't know that. No, that's awesome.
So tell me about the Dial of Destiny.
I wouldn't recommend watching the film, but when you watch the film in the set, like you can tell that the ending's been fucked around with. There's a pretty obvious moment where the reshoot kicks in.
Rogue One.
Yeah, originally, even more blatant than that. But Indiana Jones was going to die. He is shot and dies,
sure?
and he's mortally wounded and dies. Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
He doesn't then?
I'm going to get to that. So,
okay,
in the original ending, he was going to be shot and he was going to die, and he was like, "Just leave me here. I want to die here." Phoebe Waller-Bridge picks up the hat, goes back in time, and replicates all of his moments from Raiders, Temple of Doom, the entire series, and she becomes the new Indiana Jones by the end of it.
But why though?
Indiana Jones.
Is there a character reason for this, or does she?
Oh wait, no. I think I'm remembering it wrong. I think he comes face to face with his younger self. I think with younger Indiana Jones, and I think younger Indiana Jones. Yeah, and I think younger Indiana Jones is killed from like the time of Raiders.
Oh,
and then
then
Phoebe Waller-Bridge has to take up the mantle. I'm like, actually, fuck you. Then the ending that we get in the movie, spoiler alert, Indiana Jones is shot, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is like, I'm going to take you back through the portal. You need to get you to a doctor. And he's like, leave me here. I'm old. I'm divorced. My son is dead. I've got nothing to live for. And she's like, no, I'm going to bring you back. And he's like, just let an old man die in peace. And she goes, well, I didn't want to have to do this, but she punches him in.
Too far anyway.
She punches him in the face and it cuts to black, which is always a telltale sign that something's been fucked with in the movie. We then fade back in. Indiana Jones is in his apartment. He's got a bandage around his waist. He's fine now. And then Marion comes back into his life and wants to rekindle things. And that's the ending of the movie.
Wait.
It literally happens like right after. It's awful. Yeah, here we go. I assume he gets taken out of time and she has to do what they did in Avengers to keep the timeline or something. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
It's like when in Family Guy, when Stewie discovered he was the ancestor of Leonardo da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
And then Leonardo da Vinci dies in the past, so he has to stay behind and be Leonardo da Vinci. And then because Leonardo da Vinci is Leonardo da Vinci, and he's in fiction, he can create sci-fi stuff. Mm-hmm. He creates a Renaissance cryogenics thing and has himself buried under the house in Quahog.
Yeah, exactly that.
Also, Bath Time mentions a niche movie by with Steve Coogan called Hamlet 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that movie.
I've never seen it.
Just Rock Me Sexy Jesus is my jam. Raped in the Face is a little fucked up. No, it's really fucked up. The song is called Raped in the Face.
Bringing it back to Superman real quick. Much better reveal of Lex being bald in this movie than Batman vs. Superman.
I had a note here that says that swimming cap is doing a really bad job at hiding the fact that he's not bald.
Yeah, I know.
Like the whole point of the swimming cap is that he's bald under there, but you don't know. I can see his hair.
And then in BVS, you just have and he's coming. Ding 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 ding.
Shave his head. That's how he's bald.
Fucking hell! What I
In
just remember.
Smallville, he's hit in the head with a meteorite the day Superman arrives, and that's why he loses his hair.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's
Lionel Luthor, his father, not Lex Luthor Sr.
What was I going to say? Yeah, the extended edition where he tries to feed Miss Tessmacher to like his big cats. He calls them his babies. I think originally they were meant to be like electric eels and alligators and whatnot, but they added some sound effects of some big cats in there. It's very Harley Quinn Joker. Well, what would eventually become Harley Quinn Joker? That relationship there, that very destructive relationship between the two of them. And how really she is a villain, but she's also kind of on the side of the angels a little bit. Like she will go out of her way to help Batman in some situations, like she does in the animated series. So I do wonder if the Batman the animated series was inspired by this particular relationship. It might have been just a completely separate idea that came to their mind, but I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it was inspired by this, but I will say Harley Quinn has non-consensually kissed Batman a couple times.
Yes, she has. Yeah. Let's talk about the music. It's as much as character as anything else in this film. I don't know if I've said this on a stream before, but I will say it now. The Superman theme, or the Superman March, is my favorite piece of music ever written for a character in anything. More so than Lord of the Rings, more so than Star Wars. Those probably have like the better overall score for me, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, although the score to this is phenomenal. But if I'm just taking a single theme, a single like character motif on its own merits, the Superman theme is the most iconic and most perfectly suited piece of music to a character I've ever seen. Now, I'm going to be quite controversial here and say that I don't want that theme plastered over every single incarnation of the character. I think it works for Christopher Reeve's Superman films. I could have done without it in Superman Returns, but considering that's meant to be a sequel, whatever, in the same universe, but it isn't, but it kind of is.
Trying something, sort of.
You have the John Ottman score in there, and I actually think he took a number of these themes that John Williams did to the next level. Like he adds a lot of, it's just the progression of film scores and orchestra sizes, sound. He adds like a choral sound element into it as well. It's outstanding. I think John Ottman did a fantastic job with the themes.
Chef's kiss.
I don't like the music in Man of Steel, but you can tell it was definitely inspired by Williams. It's written in the same key. It's sort of like that C majory kind of sound, the same sort of intervals in there. It's the general ambience of it, but it doesn't have any sort of strong, powerful themes. I don't need the John Williams music in we saw Warner Brothers trying to put this back into stuff like the Justice League and little bits of it at the end of Black Adam in the post-credit scene. We're getting it again in the James Gunn soundtrack. It's all over the trailer.
Maybe not. They're writing a new score over the course of the next month. They're giving that they brought in a new composer.
I don't know. The fact that it was meant to be called Superman Legacy and then they've changed the name to just Superman again, James Gunn's Superman, and that in the trailer we've had almost like a Top Gun Maverick style guitar riff of the John Williams theme. I think it's going to be pretty much that. I think they're definitely going to be swaying that theme all the way through it. And I've seen people say, well, yeah, that's the Superman theme. I'm like, it's the theme for Superman in the 70s and 80s movies.
Theme?
Exactly. And they were doing this shit with the Danny Elfman Batman theme as well. Do you remember in Justice League League? And it doesn't fit. It's like, this doesn't belong in this incarnation, this adaptation of the character. It doesn't tonally match.
Put that in the next one. In 2023, though.
Wait.
Flash.
Oh, yeah, and they did, and it was great, and I got a kick out of it. I was like, yeah.
Do they use the one from Justice League in that, though? Because, I feel like they're just sitting on that.
I think they literally just took a track from '89 and just put it in.
I fucking bet they did.
When he's like nose diving to the ground to beat up all those Russians at the base or whatever happens. It's always fucking Russians, isn't it? Jesus.
I mean, look at Zod's chest. Oh wait, he doesn't have it in this one. Never mind.
Bath Time says the thing that's great about the Superman theme is, for me, it's not really about Superman, it's people's reaction to him, like a kind of wonder.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's really good.
John Williams is just masterful anyway, just one of the, if not the best composer of our age. And just the genius of that theme itself. I love the fact that it is a march. You could almost imagine, you know, sort of the Captain America kind of thing. What's that song that he sings in the first Avenger? That sort of show that he takes on the road. He does that song and dance number.
Oh God, I don't remember the song at all. In fact, I'm trying to hear it in my head, and I'm hearing "Springtime for Hitler." I know that's not it.
It's very similar, right? But how you have that
Germany
sort of
was having trouble. That's that story. Yes, I know "Springtime for Hitler."
We know all the songs to Sweeney Todd and the producers. It's fucking great. But yeah, how you have the brass.
Do you know the one from the musical, not the movie, that includes like the number for Hitler, like actually like Heil myself?
Yeah, that's my favorite version.
Yes.
Controversially, I prefer the 2005 version.
Yeah, no, that's in my driving music playlist actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the crowd who's out to change our history.
How myself. Raise your hand.
We're gonna be doing this after the stream.
Yeah, we are.
There's no greater dictator in the land.
Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying.
I do for you.
Yes,
if you're looking for a war, here's World War II.
That's now. Watch me, faggots. That's a different Mel Brooks movie.
I forgot about that.
Right, what I was saying. Shut the fuck up. Right, the theme. I like how it is like a march. Now you have the brass going like bum, 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 but in the background, it's great. And even the theme, loads of people have said this as well. You have this victorious fanfare, which almost sounds like the music is declaring Superman, like bum, ba-da, Superman. It sounds like that. Yeah, it's just a beautiful use of it.
There are a few like instrumentals that have lyrics.
Was this a Mandela effect as well? The 60s Batman show. So you always think of, you know, na 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 Batman.
Nobody ever said that. It's just people did that.
Yeah, I read somewhere. It's just
exactly
the
same thing as this. It's exactly the same thing as John Williams. Superman. No. Nobody says it. It's like na 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 na.
No way.
Nobody says it. To my understanding, nobody says Batman. It's just the instrumentals.
I did read that, and I wasn't sure if that was true or not. I mean, that's incredible if that's the case. It's just a phenomenal soundtrack, and not even, you know, just the main theme aside.
Captain America do that?
You've got. Oh yeah, that's a lot of syllables. Shit.
Captain America.
Yeah, I guess so. No. But I mean, the soundtrack across the board is amazing. Like, I love the Krypton theme. That build to Krypton. You have the love theme in there. Can You Read My Mind? We've talked about we're not keen on the poem.
You're bored.
You're even less keen on the actual song. The song that was meant to be in this film and wasn't. It was released as a moderate hit. I think it got like number 50 in the charts, top 100 charts or something like that. It was fine. I actually don't mind that song. And I messaged you before we went live saying, why do I really like this song? I'm just going to find out who actually sang the song real quick. Maureen McGovern did a version, the single version of Can You Read My Mind in 1979. And I wondered why I liked it so much. And it's very indicative of a Bond theme to me, like one of those romantic lovey-dovey Bond themes. And I tell you why. A lot of the good Bond themes are some chick singing about how fucking amazing and awesome James Bond is. And this song is like,
pretty much
I am completely besotted with Superman. He's amazing. He's a god. He's great at everything.
Literally says, "I'm holding hands with a god."
It's the ultimate hype man song. Yeah, and it's this beautiful sweeping orchestral string arrangement that sounds like something like For Your Eyes Only or something like that, and
It's I'm
all
bringing
time
this back to
high.
Mel Brooks. It reminded me first of Maid Marian's opening song in Men in Tights
Mm,
when she's in the bath. Like,
yeah.
where is the one something?
Fuck, are we
I
gonna have
can't
to do
hit
a
those notes right now. My throat is fucked up.
are we gonna have to do a Mel Brooks retrospective at some point as well? I'd be down for that actually. That'd be a good
I
retrospective.
mean, I'd have fun.
I like Dracula Dead and Loving It.
I love Dracula Dead and Loving.
There you
I
go.
love that. Yeah, we could cut off her head, stuff her mouth with garlic, and tear off her ears. Give me the steak.
I just fucking like Kill Bill style fountain of blood.
Yes. Good, apt comparison. So I take it this movie was made before we knew that if you shoot down nuclear missiles, they don't explode.
Yeah, I, I guess so.
Like the whole point is a missile. Like, you know how they put those coordinates into the thing, like that Otis writes. That's for two things. One, that's where it's going. That's also where it is programmed to detonate. And if it never goes to those points, it doesn't detonate. Although it does, because he throws it into space and it explodes. So I guess this is a different kind of nuke.
Yeah. And depending on which cut of Superman 2 you watch, that has either massive or no ramifications in the next movie.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So yeah, I could talk for ages about the music on this. I think it's one of
We
John
have.
Williams' finest scores. It's just remarkable. He doesn't come back to do the music in 2, does he? But they reuse some of the themes. I think it's more of a pared down orchestra. The sound's definitely not as strong in the theatrical cut, at least.
This is definitely something we should talk about next week, because they brought back the Williams score for the Donner cut, and it feels really out of place because it wasn't made for that movie.
Yeah, they just kind of spam the same themes throughout, don't they? Because they've got the soundtrack for it. And I guess sort of we'll just round off with this then, because we're over 2 hours already. A lot longer than I thought we would go on, but that's because this film's just really fucking good and it's great talking about it. There's probably going to be a big category right now.
Going more than an hour.
Let's talk about the impact this film's had then on sort of pop culture in general, but also the genre of the comic book movie, the superhero movie. I'll let you start with this one if you like.
Well, I mean, it's the first, like it's literally the start of the what would become the biggest type of movie. Like, it isn't the start of it becoming the biggest type of movie. It's the start of that type of movie. Like, you got that. There was that one Adam West Batman movie that was like a spinoff of the TV show, but that was a spinoff of the TV show, and it's like, let's not count that one, okay? Can we agree?
I love that movie, but yeah, it very much just is
the
same. It's in the same realm as the TV show, isn't it?
Yeah. This gave superheroes a cinematic lens for us to look through them as these monoliths, these Goliaths, these gods. I mean,
it really showed the potential of what could be done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I think. Go on, sorry.
And then at some point, somebody just took it and ran with it.
Well, it goes in different phases, doesn't it? So you had the massive success of this one, and then eventually the diminishing returns, and then the late 80s, you catapult it again with Batman in this brand new dark cinematic take that we haven't seen before. That eventually peters out, and then you have the new phase that starts around the late 90s into the 2000s with the likes of Blade and X-Men and Spider-Man, which catapults it. And then you have the newer phase, which is springboarded with 2008's Iron Man and whatnot. And now we're sort of petering out again. And I'm sure it will come back strong with something else down the line. I think it's quite apt, I think, that for Marvel, everything's almost resting on Fantastic Four this year. But for DC and
yeah,
comic book
that's the
movies
thing.
in general, everything's kind of on the shoulders of Superman. And that's quite tragic, but also kind of amazing at the same time, that if Superman can't bring audiences back to a comic book movie, if it doesn't do well, if it underperforms, there is no hope for the comic book superhero genre at that point. It needs to go away and come back in a few years with like a fresh take, a fresh idea, and bring it back.
I don't know if that's accurate, because the thing is, there are two. I feel like there are two phases to bring to superhero movies. You've got the Batman phases and you've got the Superman phases. And if a Superman movie comes out during a Batman phase, it's not gonna. It's you get Man of Steel. I'm just gonna. You're not gonna getting a Superman movie. Well, no, you're kind of getting exclusively a Superman movie, but emphasis on man.
It's Warner Brothers just can't seem to get it right, can they? They have a successful string of Batman films, and then
you've got the Batman, you've got the Penguin. Which, by the way, you made a pun earlier that I wish I remembered at the time, because if you had made that joke in the Penguin show, you'd be dead. Everybody who makes those puns seems to be dying.
How many
started Penguin? I'm 4 episodes in.
Oh, dude, that 4th episode. Am I right?
It's good.
That's the Sophia episode, isn't it?
That's the episode where we see Victor's backstory on the rooftop, and Sophia and Oz are selling the Red Rocks.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Next episode 5 is the
Sophia episode.
Yeah. Oh, that's the good one.
Is the driver going to become Mr. Freeze?
I am saying.
How does it happen?
My lips are sealed.
Does Victor have a run-in with ice?
But if we look at the history of Warner Brothers, they're all over the place. They just can't seem to get anything off the ground. So in 2005, they bring out Batman Begins, and they think, right, we're springboarding this new Batman franchise. Right around that time, I think it was 2006, wasn't it? Returns comes out, and then it was like, well, are we meshing these two universes together? And then, no, that wasn't the plan, but they continue their successful Batman films. And of course, we get The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. After that, it's like, right, well, that tied itself up in an incredibly tight bow at the very end of that film. What do we do now? Well, we're going to reboot Superman, but we're going to have it cinematically look almost exactly the same as the Dark Knight films. Hell, we're going to have Christopher Nolan's name attached to it, and you best be sure we're going to plaster that over all the trailers to get asses in seats. And honestly, looking at those films side by side, they could very much fit in the same universe. They absolutely could, just stylistically, visually, everything, tonally, everything about it.
I mean, if Man of Steel happens after, then it works, kind of.
Then they try to rush to their cinematic universe, which epically fucked up. And it was like, right, we panic. What do we do? Hit the red button. Right, reboot Batman. And we get a reboot of Batman. And it's pretty good. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it at the time. Granted, I haven't gone back to it a lot of times. I think it's fine. It could have done with a few more passes on the script, but there's some good stuff in there. And to this date, like the last run of since that film came out, or at least Joker in 2019. Oh yeah, because Batman came out in 2022. That was the last successful DC superhero movie. Look at all the ones we've had after that. Shazam 2, Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2, Black Adam. All of these have lost money. All of these have completely underperformed. Yeah, no, exactly. You and the rest of the world. Joker 2, massively, huge loss. They're not doing so well. They need this next film to be a hit. And I think is the reason that they've kept constantly delaying the Batman 2, despite the fact that, that the Penguin was nominated for a bunch of Emmys, and it's fucking outstanding. Genuinely one of the best TV shows I've ever seen in my life. It's got a lot of people hyped for this Matt Reeves Batman universe again. So we've got this one crowd that's championing this cinematic Batman universe across the small screen and the big screen. But then they're launching this new DC property. James Gunn is the CEO of everything, the overseer of everything. He wants to launch his own Batman for his own universe. And I think the reason that they've pushed back the Batman 2 so much to 2027 at this point is because I think Warner Brothers are hedging their bets on this Superman film. If this film underperforms or doesn't do well as well as it should, I think they're going to cut their losses, and I think Supergirl's too far gone at this point. I think that's going to be sort of the afterbirth that Black Adam and Aquaman 2 was in terms of the Zack Snyder universe.
Tell
of
it to
things.
Batwoman.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'd still quite like to watch that film though. It's got Brendan Fraser in it.
We might get Fraser. We might get a a release Batwoman thing, like maybe during the next pandemic.
But yeah, if Superman doesn't perform, I think they're going to be, hey, so Matt Reeves, you ready to start shooting that script for Batman 2? We're ready to go on it now. I think they're going to go
Just
back
think
to
about
that.
the rabbits, James Gunn. Of Mice and Men.
But yeah, the legacy of this film. So as you said, this was the first one that did it all. This set the stage for everything that came out afterwards. Everything was held up in reverence to this. Perfect adaptation of the character and the world, and just, you know, you said the tagline was "You'll believe a man can fly," and you absolutely do throughout all of this film. Some great shots in this.
Sometimes you don't.
There are some bits where it is a little bit ropey, but certainly for 1978, I think it's fantastic. But there are some wonderful moments
definitely.
where he takes off and he lands. There's not like a fart cloud where he breaks the sound barrier like every single time Henry Cavill lifts off. There's some nice moments where he gracefully sort of glides upwards, which I really appreciate. I like the bit where Lois Lane dies and he just screams out in anger and just like blasts into the sky.
I have a note for that. No, you're focusing on the scream, but like before that, there's nothing. It is dead silent. Movies don't do that anymore. Yeah. In fact, if at the end of the Superman Returns review, I'm gonna suggest you guys watch our review of Man of Steel Remastered, because that was literally our first ever fan edit review. It's of an edit of Man of Steel that adds the John Williams score. And I comment on this: when Superman breaks Zod's neck, it should have been dead silent, like in Superman the movie, like right before he does his scream, you know, like in Superman the movie.
Isn't it? I think it is silent, isn't it?
Music.
Is it?
In both Man of Steel and Man of Steel Remastered, there is some somber music underneath that, right before the
maybe some like ambience or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. But other films I've already mentioned: Disney's Hercules, and there's countless other ones. Disney's Aladdin as well, with the romantic flight sequence. But I think the Spider-Man trilogy is probably the biggest superhero film I can think of that pays homage to this and is almost structurally exactly the same. There's loads of beats throughout that, especially all the stuff with Uncle Ben and Jonathan Kent are very, very similar in those scenarios there. The sort of nerdy character and not being able to fit in and being very awkward, the Daily Planet, Daily Bugle. You've got the villain at the end, as Bath Time mentioned, that forces him to make a choice. There's the bit where he first comes onto the scene and he gets his costume as well. And I think that scene was meant to be longer in the original. I think in the Sam Raimi one, there was meant to be a bigger scene there. The teaser trailer was him webbing up the bank thieves in between the two towers. I think was
Twin Towers.
Yeah, sorry. I think that was probably meant to be the big action reveal. That was meant to be the helicopter sequence.
Because you would see like the reflection of the thing in his eyes, and then it would zoom out. And yeah.
But so I think that was meant to be a bigger scene, but instead you just get this sort of really, really funny montage cut into all these different characters. It's like guy with 8 hands.
CGI flags.
Sounds kind of hot. He stinks, and I don't like him.
And then you get that big CGI American flag at the end.
Oh, fucking love it. Love it. Yeah. So, but again, that same patriotic feel that this one was able to capture the truth, justice, and the American way. I fucking love it. And I'm not even American and I feel patriotic, goddammit. I want to start flying the Star-Spangled Banner. It's fucking great. And there's a moment that's
he's going to be fighting most... He'll end up fighting most... what was her exact phrasing? I'm thinking career politicians, but I know that's not it.
Oh, something like that. And he says, well, we're all on the same side. Or, you know, you shouldn't think like that, Lois. whatever he says. But yeah, we get it. We get an epic moment in the second one that's horrifically framed cinematically, but it's a great moment nonetheless at the very end of the Lester cut of Superman 2, which exemplifies that beautifully. So yeah, the impact of this film is profound and is ongoing, so much so that, as we mentioned, even in 2025, whether it's just in the trailer or whether it will be in the final movie, we've still got trailers trying to artificially make you feel the same feelings that you did with 1978 by using that Superman score, by using a lot of the same iconography of that.
They're
and sort
using
of
our hippocampus.
it's very similar to Star Wars. It feels like they can't come up with new things. They're so beholden to the OT in every way that they have to bend over backwards, whether it's cameos, member berries, full-on beat-for-beat story notes of those original films. It's like, come up with some new shit. And I'm kind of there with Superman as well. I know there are certain aspects to the character that have to be there that are sort of the pillars, the foundation, the cornerstones of what makes that character. And I get that. But come up with your own theme. Come up with some of your own things. You haven't got to keep falling back on this 1978 one. As good as it is, and it is the best one as far as I'm concerned, let's see what you got. But for me, there's
I gotta
no
watch
topping this.
that. I gotta watch that CW show because I don't know what its music is.
Mm-hmm. Now,
From what I can tell, it's the best casting of both Superman and Lois for a long time.
Yeah. And I think that's so important to get right as well. And from what I've seen of the trailers, I can't remember the name of the new actress. She looks pretty good as Lois Lane. I'll speak as I find. She looks very good as well, which is always so nice. But she looks like a pretty good Lois. The jury's still out on Superman, but I will give him a shot. We opened this review with, is this the best superhero film ever made? Are there superhero films that I maybe prefer to watch or have more nostalgia for? Yeah, like Tim Burton's Batman 89. I grew up with it. You know, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, absolutely love them, and there's countless other ones too. But for me, there's such a reverence with this film. And as I mentioned, like when it opens up and it's very theatrical and you have the curtains. And I think old cinemas used to have curtains as well, didn't they? I think in front of the screen. Maybe some cinemas still do, some old-timey ones. But
they still do.
It felt very, very theatrical. And I love that it eases you into this world. The opening title sequences are such a thing of the past now. And it makes me sad. That's another thing that the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films had, is that it eases you into this world. You have the orchestral theme, you have all of the images, and I like films that take their time getting into the actual film. So, yeah, maybe this is the best for me. And I think as I get older and I get more and more sentimental, I appreciate this film so much more each time. And it's such a wholesome feeling watching this film that I don't get with a lot, certainly not now with a lot of superhero films, which I feel miss the point of a lot of things. Inherently, it's about the character and the story that you're telling, and I think this does it phenomenally well. And even though there's some shaky effects in there, it doesn't break the film for me. That's all set dressing. It's nice if it's there too, and there are some wonderful visual effects in this, especially for 1978. But it goes beyond that for me. I need good character, I need a good script, and I need fantastic performances, and I think you get that in spades with this movie.
I got 100%. I'm with you. I am with you.
So that is our review on Superman. Next week, unsurprisingly, we haven't got to wait next year for it. We're bringing you it next week. Superman 2. Now, this
Superman
is
4. Oh.
This is the special edition DVD I've got, so it comes with the theatrical cut and the Donner cut. We won't be doing two separate reviews for these, but I will be watching both of these cuts in preparation for next week because they are fundamentally very, very different films. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch 3 different edits of Superman. In fact, I think there is a TV cut of this as well, so there probably are 3 cuts of this one out there somewhere. But unlike Superman 1, I don't think the Superman 2 one has been officially released on Blu-ray or anything like that. It's probably some kind of copy if you can find it out there. I'm going to do some research though. I'm going to see how much the TV cut adds. I know that there's a ending where Zod gets arrested, I think, at the end, which might be
he's literally getting pushed into a paddy wagon outside the Fortress of Solitude. It's great. It is fucking ridiculous.
I love it. Let's just wrap up with a couple of comments then, and we'll probably finish all this off tonight. Bath Time says Superman is a film of wonder. It showed that films that made people feel like children again had a huge grip on us. Yeah, especially during the Cold War and threats of nuclear bombings and all that pure escapism. Yeah, we need films like that now. I'm tired of everything being miserable and just postmodern and shit. I just need some of those old-timey traditional heroes again, just for a time. And then people can get fucking miserable again when they get tired of that. It's fine. Bathtime says, Andor was sick, by the way. Finished it and then went and watched Rogue One. The starship battle above Scarif is still bollocks and unnecessary. Rogue One isn't a perfect movie. It's definitely enriched, I think, with Andor, with 2 seasons of Andor, but its faults are still there. We did our review on it. There's a lot of things that we appreciated a lot more, and there's a lot of things that we still go, that's kind of a problem now. But yeah, we were really spoiled with Andor, and it really makes me upset that Disney will only give us 2 seasons of quality stuff like that. But my God, they're going to keep pumping out the fucking Mandalorian and Ahsoka. God only knows what else. Could have got 5 seasons of that shit. It's all conjecture though, because maybe the quality could have dropped off a cliff. Only speaking as a find from 2 seasons, but it's a shame we never got all those 5. Bathtime says the only superhero film that comes close to its levels of hope and wholesomeness has to be Blade 2. I have never actually seen any of the Blade films. I haven't seen one of them.
We're not doing that.
Maybe there's only 3 of them.
But
so
yeah, but I hear you really don't want to watch Blade Trinity.
Yeah, I've heard that's awful in every way, shape,
it's up
form.
there with Alien Cubed.
Oh, which cut of Alien Cubed?
I didn't know that
both are pretty bad.
Is there?
There's a director's cut, which is actually a lot better.
Oh, okay. I saw the I saw Alien Cubed the first time, and I'm like, I never need to see this again. Like, as soon as that one guy is like, "Do not speak to me. I am a murderer and raper of women," I'm like, I'm good. I'm done. I don't need this movie in my life. Actually, I think.
How many P's are in the word
Charles
raper?
Dance is the love interest.
I know.
Charles Dance is the love interest. No offense to Charles Dance, you're not the love interest. You're the father. You've been the father since you were 17.
I'm trying to find the name of the actor. What's his name? He's a British actor, and he's in Alien Cubed. Brian Glover. He's the bald guy in the prison. He's in a comedy series that I love.
They're all bald in the prison.
Well, anyway, he was he was a boxer in real life, a British boxer, and he's in a show called Bottom. That one that's got Aid Edmondson in, which I said is really weird when I watched The Last Jedi, and Aid Edmondson's there, and I'm like, this is a prolific comedian. Like, why is he here? He was in that same show in one episode, which was great.
Wait, that's kind of. I mean, if that were me in your scenario, I'd be like, oh, that's Aid Edmondson, and I know that because in that same movie, I went, oh, that's Mike Birbiglia.
Yeah,
because literally the opposite of the rebellion, the guy whose job that is in the resistance ship is an American comedian.
Well, I think just because that movie's played for laughs at the beginning with the "your mama" joke, and then Aid Edmondson was also there, I was like, am I watching Spaceballs or something? Am I watching like a parody right now? He's like, General Hux, you complete and utter bastard. Like, I just imagine him to like break into his voice from Bottom or something. Or as the German guy in Blackadder. Blackadder Goes Forth.
Oh, yes. How do you find the toilet so amusing? For us, it is a simple instrument of release. But for you, it is the foundation of an entire culture.
And Rick Mayall's in that too, who plays Lord Flashheart, and those two are the main 2 guys in Bottom, in the show that I'm talking about.
Oh, wait, is that the show with the gas man?
Yes, that's it.
Okay,
in that episode, that's where the guy from Alien Cube. Yeah, that guy in it is in Alien Cube.
I think we've had this exact conversation. I'm getting some deja vu.
Yes. Battime says, watch the first 15 minutes of Blade and tell me it's not the most amazingly enjoyable dumb stuff ever. The cat from Red Dwarf is the main vampire in Blade 2, and one of the lads from 80s boy band Bros is the main villain. Brilliant film, Blade 2. Yeah, I've heard Blade 2 is fantastic. Anyway, right, that'll do it for Superman. We're almost breaking even with the actual runtime of the theatrical cut, so we'll be back next week talking Superman 2. In the meantime, JX, where can people find you?
broken even. YouTube.com/JXEditor. I'm a fan editor. I do recuts of movies and TV shows and other stuff. I recently released an edit of the Clone Wars into a movie. I'm working on some other stuff, but I'm not ready to announce anything yet. That thing I said last week about episodes of Andor, I think it's still, or not last week, but last stream still applies. Carthago de Lenga Esta.
Sure. German. Let us know your thoughts on Superman the movie in between. If you've commented along, but let us know after the fact as well. We're going to be here for the next few weeks talking Superman. As of right now, we're going to be covering the 4 Christopher Reeve Superman films and Superman Returns. If we can cram it in, we'll probably throw Man of Steel in there as well for a solo Superman film. Why not? But don't quote us on that.
Watch our first review of a fan edit ever. It's literally an edit of Man of Steel with this soundtrack. It's cool. Yeah.
We're going to review on its own merits. We'll see if we can get there. But anyway, we're doing all this in the lead up to the new one that's coming out. So we'll be here for the next few weeks. In the meantime, do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. I fully intended to go and see the new Karate Kid film tomorrow, Karate Kid Legends. However, my car has unfortunately died a death and will be very, very expensive to replace. So I am currently without car. I don't know if I can make it there tomorrow. So there may be a stream. There might not be a stream. But there will be a stream on Monday. I'm going to be back with Dale, and there's going to be a slight change to the schedule. But for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be doing a tier list of the 64 Disney animated classics. We're going to be ranking them on the board. We're going to be chatting about them back and forth. And because there's 64 of them, and we're both doing a list for them, that'd be a very long fucking video. So we're splitting it down the middle. We're doing 32 on Monday, and we're doing the remaining 32 the week after. And then after that, we're going to be starting a brand new retrospective, which is going to take us pretty much to the beginning of December, I think, if we stay on task with it. It's a pretty hefty body of films from a prolific animation company, a lot of which I haven't seen. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And we'll announce that. We'll announce that either on Monday or maybe the week after. I'm not sure. We'll see. So stuff and things is happening on the channel. Any other retrospectives that are happening? I don't know. There'll be more movie reviews and stuff. So
Mel Brooks, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. We'll talk after this stream's done. We'll talk. No, this is awesome. So yeah, we'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, everyone.
Quick, just wait. What is that? What is the M? Because I see, did JX see any view money for having a? Because I see 30M and I'm thinking minutes.
Did JX see any of that view money for having a 30-minute plus viewed video? He would if I actually monetize the channel, but I haven't got it monetized. I don't even know how to monetize it.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh.
No, I do this for me.
Oh.
I've made money as JX editor before, and I was fucking miserable as JX editor at that time. So I do this for me now. I don't want to make money doing this.
That's the best way to go about it. Stick to what you enjoy doing. Bath Time says DreamWorks or Pixar. Well, you'll see. Well, I will announce it next week, maybe. Right, that'll do it from us. We're going to round off. Thank you to everyone who's watched and commented. We will see you on the next video.